connected. There are people here.
Sound
There's an
like
image up there. The sound is coming, but there is no picture because I haven't yet clicked this button.
And there it is. There's a picture. Wow. Gee.
Hey, I'm wearing a shirt.Uld I take off my shirt?
No, you could open up your shirt like Superman. You know, revealing his...
Wow,
Wow, thank you, Mr. Bannon, for showing up. And there's you don't have to go that far. You don't have to show off the belly. Ta-da!
30 years of glory.
That's not Corey Cole. That's Questman.
Questman. Yeah, we used to watch.
This isn't an OnlyFans. Okay.
All right, I'm going to put that shirt back on. It's cool in
Now
here.
that he did that, yes.
That was fun.
Greetings from Finland! Yay! Greetings from the...
Oh, I thought you said greens, like Green Party.
No, greetings. Greetings from San Diego area. Yeah, that's
more or less San Diego.
Yeah, it's Oceanside.
United States of America, California.
Yeah. Southern California.
San Diego County, Oceanside City.
So it's bright and sunny outside, even if it is a little chilly for our standards. Hi, guys. Glad to see you, says Rozo. Thank you for subscribing, Mr. Bannon. Let's see.
Mr. Bannon says,
This is just incredible that I'm interacting with you two. You two impacted my life as a kid and adult. Thank you so much, or so much. Anyway, nice shirt though. Yeah.
It's a little hard to read.
What's your definition of cool? There's a light amount of snow on the ground here in the greater Cincy. Our idea of...
Anything that gets below 60 is cool here.
Yes. We are cool here.
Fahrenheit.
In Fahrenheit terms, it's right around 60 out. So, yeah. And Carly Having Fun says, I'm so excited for this. Hello from Atlanta. Yay. We're getting some new names here.
I forgot to shave.
Oh, no. Well, they'll have to see.
I'll have to be scruffy.
Yes. It's been more than 30 years since we began this adventure. And we look a little older. Oh. Yeah, no, not quite. I am wearing the original Heroes Quest. Let's see. My hand goes right over the place where I'm trying to show.
HQ.
This is the original Heroes Quest t-shirt that came with, that we got for this.
Was that a misprint and originally said Famous Adventures Correspondence?
I think this is the original, the one that did not have that. So, yeah.
And we'll show off the back of it.
Well, the back of it's the more exciting part. But I don't know how to show it off properly.
Move this way.
That way?
Yep, there it is. Okay, it says, you can get further with a kind word and a sword than with just a kind word.
Yes. This is one of those things that,
it's
topography helps too.
Was that the glow in the dark one?
No, this is not the dark glow.
Oh, we had a different one that was glow in the dark that showed the hero beating the dragon, but if you let it glow in the dark, then all of a sudden the dragon.
Actually, it was the dragon.
The other way around?
Dragon was picking his teeth with a sword. Yes. Hello. Welcome, Bill.
Oh, we have a hype train going. We're at 93% in a hype train, thanks to these new subscribers.
Great. And Bill Huzzah. is out there listening while shoveling snow. I seem to be doing the same thing for the stream last year. Well, at least you're
100%!
Oh, yay, there's some...
Hype. Kyron X just subscribed. Thank you.
Yes,
they have subscribed for 10 months.
Wow.
That's 2 handfuls.
Yes, that's almost a year.
I don't know what you're going to do. What are you going to do if you subscribe for another month? Because we don't have that many fingers.
No, let's see.
Do we have any merch? I'd proudly wear a fax t-shirt. Well, we do have a shelf of our garage.
We have a lot of merch that's sitting
filled
out
with
there.
merch that we don't have any way to sell.
So when we get our website finally up and running for the...
Which we've been threatening for 10 or 20 years.
You too.
At least 10 years.
Might be able to get...
You might be able to buy a meat.
Buy a meat. This way.
Although we probably won't sell the cool Christmas socks.
You don't get the Christmas socks. They're just to keep his feet warm.
You gonna put this on?
No, I'm not putting that on. It's past Christmas, but it was on the
I think it's an improvement on me.
Probably anything covering that shiny head. Yes.
Shiny. There is actually. This is completely. I am actually fully have a full head of hair. It's just the hair is invisible.
Yes. Yes. Cafe Press is still functional, but it is mostly somnolent because they've removed a lot of the objects that I used to, like the ornaments and things. That
and
I
we
used
can
to
never
put up.
find our own page.
No,
see.
I can
Oh,
put it.
maybe it is. Hero's Still In. Nope, that one doesn't work.
You have to use from our website. Just go to the one that it says. Go to
All right.
Hero U.
Okay, hero-u.com,
Yeah, hit that.
which
And
I
then
then
hit store.
capture and say
Good
start
evening,
at,
says Phantom Beaver. Yeah.
then
Any of the meeps
click
named Beaver?
on
Beep, beep.
Store.
I didn't really know about Beaker until after we did this. I mean, so yeah.
It's actually the Hero University story.
Yeah, that's what's left of it.
For
So those pictures up there are
YouTube.
correct. I mean, they do show off what you could still buy there, but they aren't the ones that they.
Oh, there's a new section with
I
nothing
see
in
that
it.
with nothing in it.
This
Yeah.
mouse pad is lovely. It is what I'm using here.
Yeah.
This is the. Oh, I need to go back to full webcam. This is the mouse pad that we sell there. This is art by J.P. Selwood, and it is basically a Roman villa with a Pegasus drinking, and it was inspired by fan art request, or was it simply JP's
It was
idea?
JP's idea. This was except he was
So go
having
back
a horse.
to desktop. Oh, we have another level on our hype train already.
Wow, that's impressive.
What are we on?
Oh, desktop. Yeah.
Hype!
So yes, you can see I haven't updated it but you can still get T-shirts with Hero
Hype Train.
crap on it.
Level 2 of Hype Train is completed. Let's see if we can get 17 levels of Hype Train today. We've never done that before.
Get that? They are selling this, but you'll see that it no longer looks like it's filling the screen because they changed the ornaments on me. So there's a lot of things.
So we need to redo it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you probably have a much larger ornament if you...
And there, of course, is the website. So let's go back to us because we're not making any money off this anyway. Oh, thank you for gifting subscriptions. Yay!
All right. Very nice.
You're about to beat your last record. Keep up the support, it says.
Oh, no. Okay. So it looks like we've never made it to Hype Train level 3. So you guys...
I just broke a coffee mug. You might have just made a sale.
Well, the other thing Lori does... well, that one's not yours, is it?
No, you want
It's
a
got a
coffee
hair
cup?
in it.
Oh, well, I eat coffee cup.
This is what Lori does in her copious spare time when she's not writing games. Well, she takes a minute to go. Anyway, Lori used to be, when I first met her, Lori was really into ceramics and doing pottery and making ceramic sculptures and so on. Actually, let me get one of those old ones.
You're trying to get the
I was going to get one of the bookworm or something you made.
Well,
yeah, here it is.
There are these mugs still up there on Cafe Press.
Yes, this is called
It has the Hero U and this one of the holiday greetings from Hero U with the Meeps making and
I wasn't
Quirks
looking for
making
that. I was thinking of the ones you make.
I know, but I was showing off the
Okay.
merch. I haven't asked about merch. We got
Well,
merch.
way back when, before we ever got to Sierra, and part of the way we got into Sierra is Lori and I published a D&D and fantasy gaming fanzine for the American Mensa Society called The Spellbook. And so she made this dragon. You can't really read it, but it's holding the spellbook and studying it intently because, as we know, many dragons are spellcasters. So she's really pretty darn good with the ceramics, and she's been making mugs and pots for her other hobby, which is growing succulents.
Honestly, those are not large mugs. This is a large mug.
Yeah,
this is what I
that's
drink.
what Lori drinks out
Yeah,
of.
those are probably 16 ounces, I think. I don't know. How
I have one of a set of owl mugs that we just got a set of 6 of these commercially.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
my mom used to collect owls.
Yeah. So let's see. Yes. What else were we? Oh, so yeah. Our theme today. We actually have a theme.
What is the theme today?
What is the size requirement to go from mug to stein? I don't know. That's a question.
Well, usually a stein has a lid on it, does it? Well,
yeah,
maybe that's not required.
stein generally has a lid.
But there are unlidded steins too. We actually use steins. Lori drinks tea out of a stein that we got from the Texas Renaissance Fair. and had some really cool ones that we bought on eBay decades ago, long ago, and still use. You would think of a stein being decorative. Well, they could be, but they're really for drinking beer.
Initially for drinking beer. Here's steins.
Okay,
Show
here
off our steins.
There's a pair of steins.
Yes.
This has got a dragon on it and a wizard.
Yes.
It says, lift up your cares, Renaissance Festival.
Yes.
And this one is... this one says Blizzard from Blizzard Entertainment and BlizzCon. And we got this one of the years that we attended BlizzCon, which is the...
This is 1985's Red Fair thing.
And what does this say?
It doesn't tell you what year, I don't think.
It's got a serial number.
It has a serial number, so yeah.
So that's one of a limited number of BlizzCon steins. Hello, Ob.
Those are steins.
I would say Ob van Dyke, but he might correct me and say it's Van Dyke. No, in German it would be Van, but I think in Dutch it's Van. And I don't know if it would be Dijk or Dyke.
Okay.
When was the Blizzard? I think we only went to the first three
but it wasn't
BlizzCons.
from that. We ordered it.
Oh, we ordered it.
Yeah.
Oh, we got
it off their website.
Okay, so probably I don't know, maybe that.
But we did go to the. Level 2.
We got a level 2 hype train boat.
And we got an emote. Share.
We didn't quite make it to level 3, but we did get this new emote, which is Hype My Heart.
Aww. Okay.
And emotes are being delivered to supporters.
Congratulations. You all have a new set of weird little
one is a
icons.
snowman. Another one's a frog with a scarf. And
Woo! Yeah, just what you've always wanted. We'll give you anything we can give you. That doesn't, actually
cost us anything? Oh, okay. It does. It costs us time.
Yes, it does. So, at any rate,
it costs us stress because Lori's always yelling at me and saying, "Have you finished the Patreon yet?"
Okay, so the year was a long time ago.
Speaking of Patreon, you should all visit our Patreon. You should already be members of our Patreon,
or at least visit our Patreon.
Yeah. Our Patreon is here.
Because we do keep that, occasionally up to date. And that and our Discord, which is the better place to keep up to date. Because people are there all the time on Discord.
Yeah, it's really amazing. We have a very active crowd on the Transolar Games Discord. And did he invite people? All right, here's a Discord invite. It's good for 7 days. So you need to get there sooner rather than later. And that is a place to talk with other Quest for Glory fans and occasionally with me. And once in a blue moon with Lori.
Yeah. But
Lori actually does things with her life.
And it's got the penitentiary.
Oh, the most important part is the penitentiary.
Yes, always the most important part is the desktop.
Desktop, yep. Yeah. Now you got to click on it instead of sliding over it.
Oh, okay. There we go. There you go.
Lori uses a trackball. She's not used to a mouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, your sword's pretty great, but mine will always be a little greater.
So, yes, you too could join us on our penitentiary where, let's see.
Me at home, me at balls.
Yes. Okay.
I can skip that one. It's a silly old one.
All right.
Probably all just pirated stuff. Yar sail.
Okay.
Head, jog.
Okay. Yeah.
There's everyone at Schrodinger's funeral looking at the coffin.
Okay.
Oh, but I like this one. Capital of Ireland's capital city is really growing. In fact, it's Dublin.
Okay, yeah, so that's the quality of the jokes here.
Yeah.
No Dutchie here, says
This is Sting. You've seen him before. And there's Gollum in the audience at a Sting concert.
Yes,
I have seen Sting live in concert.
Yeah.
He shared the stage with Annie Lennox.
The puns, they burn us precious. Yay! Thank you. Pop-Tart?
So we thought today it's a new year. last year was a year of chaos.
Yeah.
Many things happen in our lives. Some good, some not so good. And we decided that this is a whole new year. And Lori has decided she was going to get started again writing dialogue for our next game, Summer Days FAO's Adventure.
Yeah.
And I said, she's going to do that. Maybe I should do something too.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm going to start. I did. I wrote about it. And if you'd read your Patreon, you would know what it is I'm going to do.
Yes, but I thought that's just your normal behavior you're supposed to do. I didn't realize that was special.
Well, I didn't do it last year.
Okay.
We dumped a game out on the market with no publicity, which is actually the actual normal behavior. But
yeah.
Lori wrote a song. This is to the tune of what is it now?
Barrett's
Privateers.
Yes.
By Stan Rogers. Are you going to sing it or am I?
No, I am not singing that sucker.
Oh, the year was 1988. How I wish I worked for Sierra still. Ken Williams wanted to make a game, so to Oakhurst and Sierra together we came. Well, Fubar and Bletch, Ken Williams claimed we'd make a fortune in computer games. We made Quest for Glory, Dr. Brain 2. Does this scan?
It does, but
so
you lost the melody.
So we made Quest for Glory and Dr. Brain 2. Now we're indie developers. Broke and Blue.
Yes, you lost the melody.
Well.
Yes, Broke and Blue. Did you read this thing?
Yeah, but I wasn't wearing my glasses just now.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I might have. Now we're indie developers, Broke and Blue, while the Williams yacht sails the ocean blue. Okay, so it's God damn them all. I was told we'd cruise the seas for American gold. We'd fire no guns, shed no tears. Now I'm a broken man on a Halifax pier, the last of Barrett's privateers. That's original.
Yes.
So how to say?
Now we're indie developers.
So why don't you sing it so that we can get what you have?
Shut up then, yeah. Now we're indie developers, Broke and Blue. While the Williams, now I got it. Yeah. While the Williams yacht sells the ocean blue. There. Yes.
Goddamn them all?
Oh, no, that's Fubar and Bletch.
Oh, Fubar and Bletch.
Yeah, yes.
Fubar. Oh, that's what I didn't get. Okay, so it's Fubar and Bletch. Ken Williams claimed we'd make a fortune in computer.
You lost that.
No, I lost it again.
Yes, I know. So don't bother. Any rate, yes.
Song written for the occasion.
Is that about the explosion? No, the Broken Man on the Halifax Pier is about they went to sea on the scummiest vessel he'd ever seen, and the first thing that happened when they tried to fight in that war, which it was the war.
Yeah. So.
Year was 1778. So
1778. So was the French, no, Canadian, I don't know.
It was
somebody.
But it was Canadian.
It was Canada was participating, but there wasn't actually Canada versus the U.S., but we were fighting in Canada. Anyway, so they put together this privateer ship to go blow up American trade ships and, get everyone rich.
However, it's all about this lousy ship.
But the Antelope sloop was a sickening sight.
Yes.
So she went up.
Did not actually manage to sink the American ship,
the American ship sank them instead.
Yes, it's a Cheerios song.
Cheerios, yes, Cheerios.
It's Os. It's very
Os. So that's what people call for more Os, Os.
And very cheery, sad song.
Yes.
Yes. Fubar and Bletch. Fubar and Bletch being the curse word for.
That comes from not from Adventure Colossal Cave, but from Zork. Zork was created by a bunch of people at MIT that had seen the Colossal Cave Adventure and thought that they could make a really, much better parser and a fancier adventure game. So it's kind of the history of adventure games. That's sort of what we're all about in a way.
Right. This is going back into history again, yes.
And so Foo, bar, and blech was what people at MIT at the time were saying if they wanted to curse without actually using curse words.
So now you know.
So Zork was programmed to catch it when somebody typed those words in. And if you typed in foo or something, it would say, well, foo, bar, and blech to you. Which is especially tricky because there was a bar of something, a silver bar or something like that in the game. So you could use bar in a legitimate context or not.
Okay.
But you couldn't tell from the looking at the vocabulary. It looked totally reasonable that bar was in there.
Return to Zork is one of the most amazing, awful games, but looking back, still fills you with nostalgia. Yeah.
Whereas, of course, we're talking about the original Zork. Zork was originally on mainframe and mini computers and could be accessed over the ARPANET, which was the predecessor to the Internet. It was Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency.
Thank you.
Thanks for the subscription, Stretchy86. And when they decided they wanted to put it on early microcomputers, I think they started out on CPM machines at first, and Apple II. They said, well, we can't fit this entire game there, so they actually split it into 3 games, Zork 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, I think it's spelled that. I think it is spelled like that.
Yeah, well, FUBAR, of course, is an old World War II acronym, which is fouled up, or another F word, beyond all recognition.
Ah, yes, that's what it is.
So FUBAR.
So it really is a curse word.
It really was a curse word. It's an acronym for a curse word.
A curse word, yeah.
Okay. And that was popular among American soldiers in World War II. The blech, I'm not so sure about.
Yes, and Edenway says, I found it interesting that the Oregon Trail also started out on mainframes. It would take about a decade before it would appear on the Apple II. Oh, interesting.
So when I was in college in the mid-'70s, we had a series of simulation programs for, I did various political science classes on, and finally my political science advisor says, if you want to get a second major in political science, you actually have to take some classes other than computer simulations. And I was like, oh, really?
Oh, too bad.
So I did finally take a couple of political science and economics classes and didn't do it quite as well.
So Stretchy says, thanks for a lifetime of memories, y'all. All my love. Well, we'll give you all our love, too. We're really glad that we made that impression on you. So, the year was 1988. We were a broke indie developer. What do you know? Corey had gone.
Oh, that's true. I was a broke indie developer in 1988, and
yes. A broke indie developer with a baby.
Oh yeah, and a young baby
and a 2-story house in lovely San Jose,
which we couldn't afford to make the payments on,
and a terrible asthma because the area
there was so much auto traffic at the time. And,
yes, so
that was before pollution controls and unleaded gas and so on.
Right, so he was having asthma. We were having to move out of the place. I love the Bay Area. Let's put it this way.
It was wonderful, and we had a wonderful house.
We had a great community. We were part of the
Filk community.
The Filk community, which was a science fiction Filk song,
and science fiction fandom in general.
And that was at that time just breaking apart in all different ways. It was scattering. So it was like the stars aligned to have us go to Sierra. We had to get out of the Bay Area. We had said, oh, well, it would be good to get into the mountains. And then we got this message from Carly Hochstadter, who had worked for Sierra Online, and she said they needed somebody like us, and that's why we applied.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
So I had originally moved to the Bay Area for a couple reasons, one of which is Lori and I met in the Bay Area but I was living in L.A. at the time, and Lori didn't want to come to L.A. She had a support system in the Bay Area.
I had an aunt in San Francisco, so I knew he turned out to be a piece of...
That was weird.
Yes, he was weird. We knew that. But if he became,
the wrong kind of weird.
The wrong kind of weird, I had a place to go. So that was important.
So that was, and the other reason was the computer game industry, which was nascent at that point, and Lori and I had both started playing different variations of Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes, and our groups in Dungeons and Dragons were kind of breaking up too. And I had just quit my job.
But I was going to say, I went up there originally, because this was before I even met you.
Yeah.
Trying to get a job for, I think it was Activision, or one of those. Actually, it was the company did the Temple of Apshai, if anyone remembers those. Text role-playing games. And I didn't know that was actually run out of somebody's garage or house or something like that. And I said, okay, yeah, this is a real company doing computer role-playing games. I want to get into that. So I'd wanted to be in role-playing games, and then, but it didn't happen. And so I was working in developing desktop publishing software. And we got this call at 10 at night from Carly Hochstadter, who lived in Coarsegold, California, and was an animator for Sierra Online. She did the Unicorn, I think, in King's Quest IV.
And she
did she do Rosella?
She animated Rosella. Remember, she demonstrated how proud she was of the way the pigtails swung back and forth. So she had been very proud of working for that. And when Ken Williams, I want to do this part short story because we tell it every time. So the other things that were coming together is I had just quit my job recently at I was working at preschool. I had a teaching degree, but I couldn't work in California without going back to college, so I was teaching preschool. And I had to quit my preschool job because it had changed management, and they had thrown out the previous management, which I loved. And so
I thought it was because we were trying to raise a baby.
No, that was one of them, but it was like, okay, so all of these things were coming together to kick us out of this area. And then Ken Williams basically
said, get out of San Jose.
Needed us. Clearly, he needed us.
It was. We had to, this magical combination of, we never planned to be computer adventure game developers, but we had sort of worked at things all our lives and played at things that all led up to that.
Right. I had taken animation classes at De Anza College. We were writing the spell book.
And you had a minor in creative writing.
I had a minor in creative writing, if they gave minors in creative writing.
And I was a programmer, so technically I had a degree in mathematics, but I spent all my time doing computer stuff. So.
And I had a minor in art. That one I did officially have a minor in. So therefore, all of these things were perfect and to come together as a synergy to become game developers.
So it was time.
Yes.
And when we got there and looked at the systems there, my first job at Sierra was actually as a systems programmer. So I got really into the internals of SCI, which was important. And when I looked at, what can we do for a role-playing game, I said this is the perfect time. If we had been here 2 years earlier, we couldn't have made a decent role-playing game on the Sierra system, AGI, that they were using at the time. And if we'd been 3 years later, we probably wouldn't have had the opportunity. So we got there right at a point where, we had full control of the team, and Lori was able to direct the artists, and I directed the programmers, and we were able to really make the game we wanted to make.
Yeah. Given the requirements for Sierra's games. All right, so let's catch up on our chat. Golden Drake says, yes, FUBAR is a wonderful acronym. And, Moose Boys, I shall go on a pilgrimage one day from far off Australia.
Which we'd love to visit.
We'd love to go on a pilgrimage there. To visit some wonderful places, including Oakhurst, Spokane, Washington, Twin Peaks, North Bend, and Eugene, Oregon. The Dynamics Betrayal at Condor. Yeah, that would be quite the pilgrimage.
Don't forget Forks, Washington for Twilight. And Roberta Vaughn, who's one of our major super fans.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's on the major list of that. It says, my computer science server was named FUBAR. When asked what it meant, my professor kept it PG and said the F stood for fouled up, yes.
Yes, fouled up. That's
perfectly acceptable.
Perfectly acceptable alternative to the original.
Arlo says, reading these anecdotes from history about how people used to use the same curse words as us is always interesting. Yeah.
Mudsbaz also liked the word frob, and it was the Frobaz Manufacturing Corporation or something like that was made-up thing in the great underground empire of Zork.
Yes. Golden Drake says Foobar also resulted in many early programming books featuring examples like int foo and int bar.
I used foo as a temporary variable. I don't think I ever used bar.
Yeah, bars kind of things. Mose says it, which I think believes came from the MIT crowd. Probably. David TKI says still am, but was too. Okay, fine. I'm not sure that we've lost context for that, but
That's okay.
And Chrome Nye is
Chrome Nell.
Chrome Nye. No.
No.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's an L.
That is not an I. Yes.
Surviving on pizza and love.
Ah, well.
So the three big hacker foods immortalized by MIT, what hackers all around the world, were pizza, Chinese food. What was the third one?
I wasn't a hacker.
Let's say it was pizza and Chinese
pizza
food.
and Chinese food. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, and that's because those were the takeout places that you could get late at night, and hackers were renowned for working late at night.
Ah.
Now, why did we do stuff late at night? During the day, the computers were slower than molasses, and all the school administrators and stuff were running their, reports and things, and it took you hours to turn around and take out computer cards, which you had to punch yourself, or get someone to punch for you. In the early days, you hired someone to punch the cards for you.
Unless you were a student.
Well, they still had somebody on staff that was
really?
the
Okay.
key punch operator.
Okay.
They didn't trust students to
Of
be able to
course
keep
not.
punch machine.
Considering those were complex typewriter machines.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, so if you wanted to get 5-minute or half-hour turnaround, you came in at 2 a.m.
Ah.
And so programmers, so it was Darwinian selection for all the night people became programmers.
Right, yes. All the day people became managers.
Yep.
Clearly, that's the way it goes. And yes.
And made all the money.
Here's another first-time chat from Hajol Liz, I think.
H.J. Alice.
Okay. All right, fine.
As a working programmer.
I can personally confirm that foo and bar are very much used today still. Okay.
I tended to use I, J, K, and L because that's what you did in Fortran. But temp, I used temporary variables with names like temp.
Yeah, yes. Subtle. Yes. Arlo says, how does someone not...
Totally self-documenting.
Yes, want to live in L.A. It's where Leisure Suit Larry lives and works. And, you know how good that area is, yes. Bears...
Well, Dionne Warwick warned us about that. She said, L.A. is a great big freeway. Put 100 down and buy a car. Anyway, etc.
Yes, bears who care.
So we went to San Jose. I went from L.A. to San Jose.
Have you actually walked around L.A. and any parts east of the Beverly Hills? Lol. And,
I have actually.
yes, yeah.
One day at Christmas, I found myself walking in downtown Los Angeles in a T-shirt and saying, "Oh, how could anyone live anywhere else?"
Yes, this is what Christmas in California is like. Yes, it is. At least if you're in Southern California, not up in Oakhurst, which is probably snowing there. So the a good chance that the old Sierra building has snow on it right now. So.
Van Dyke asks, "Who is if I'm not mangling it too badly?" Says, "Who is the owner of Sierra now?" Indirectly, it is Microsoft Corporation, because they have just acquired Activision Blizzard, which merged Activision Corporation, Blizzard Corporation, and somewhere along the line, Activision got the rights to the Sierra name from Vivendi.
Vivendi, yeah, that's right.
Which got it from the other French
Sendent,
Havas Interactive, which got it from Sendent, which got it from CUC. Well, it was the merger of CUC and something else created Sendent, and CUC had just acquired Sierra. So yeah.
Many generations down, yes.
So you can't tell the players without a scorecard.
Yep. And Belthar said, "Hello, I made it. Hello, all. Hope everyone is well." Yes, we always hope you're well. Everybody's well. And Phantom Beaver says, "Do you ever watch Let's Play people playing Quest for Glory on YouTube? And if so, who is your favorite?"
And the answer is hardly ever.
Hardly ever. But we sometimes watch the speed runs, and of course, if
and David TKI is, of course,
yes.
and PR Reverend PR Miller.
Yes,
are
yes.
when
those two speedrunners are doing it, we will catch their things, especially when they're doing the marathons that they run for charity. We watch those in particular. Let's see, the King's Quest animations were great.
Going back to Carly.
Yes. The unicorn was really an exciting sight to behold. Yeah, it was. It was it was great to see real animation being done on the computer. Yeah.
And by the way, we very recently got word that Carly Hawk's daughter has passed.
Yes, she passed last year.
Late last year.
So she is
just a few months ago.
But she did get us into this direction. Yes, we were destined to be adventure game rock stars. Well, we were destined to be in the gaming committee. That's clearly true. Let's see. Yeah.
I mean, we both played games since we were a child, and we loved word games and such. So we had some vocabulary.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
And then I got into early video and computer games. I was on Play-Doh. I was on the Play-Doh system. That was quite relevant to the game industry. Many of the game designers came out of Play-Doh.
Yeah. And Arlo says, he was in LA, but only for a few days. The rich places are okay. I understand that it has shitty places. It has all things. It's a huge city.
I mostly lived in the west side in Venice and Playa del Rey and Santa Monica area. And those are very nice. You're closer to the beach, closer to the ocean.
And not so polluted, but of course you moved out of LA because at the time when you were living in LA.
Yeah, when I was there originally, I couldn't live there.
Yes, the
and then and so I moved up to San Jose,
clean air San Jose.
And I brought all the smog with me because everybody else moved to San Jose also, and there were too many people in Silicon Valley.
I think it's cool that you were in the same area I was born and raised. Yeah, let's see, and. Unless you mean,
I don't know the context. Sarah.com website.
Yeah. Hearing De Anza College in a Twitch stream is really strange.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Bears, did you have something to do with De Anza? Oh, okay. Was born and raised there. Yeah, Lori took several film animation and cartooning classes. Do you remember the instructor name?
I keep getting... I can't remember. He's dead now, so.
Oh dear.
But he had been in the industry.
He, like me, had asthma and severe asthma problems.
So yes.
He warned me against some medicines.
I really like De Anza. Let's see.
And I took one cartooning class there, and actually drew some things and discovered, well, I'm not good at drawing things, but I'll bet if I worked at it, I could get good.
And Arlo says, "Wow, I didn't know Sierra.com still exists or that it sells activewear now."
Oh, yes, I remember when they acquired the website. As Activision wasn't keeping it up.
Okay, so...
let the copyright go.
A real serious question here. Was the EG version easier to produce than the VGA version?
Yes.
By 1,000-fold.
Yes. EGA, we basically... Ken and Company had come up with tools for... drawing the art directly on the computer, and it was basically like paint by numbers. So they did vector drawings and then did flood fills for different areas of the screen. And basically a background for Heroes Quest was done in a day. All of the associated animation, art, and what we called addepics, which are the furniture and the little plants and things in a scene. All that was done for a scene in 1 week. When we went to VGA, that went up to about a month, and this was 2 to 4 weeks. And when we went to 3D on Quest for Glory 5, it went up to about 3 months. So yeah.
Okay, we need to get rid of a thing.
Oh.
A spammer.
Okay, we will go to, let's see, there's some...
Couldn't figure out an interface, so...
I always did like /ban, WITISH, acrobat, N. Okay. I think, and it's paused here to scroll.
May not.
One message was deleted by moderator. Okay, there we go.
Fine. All right.
There is no advertising in our channel.
Yeah. And Eden Waite says, I think it was a few years ago when that Sierra Outdoor Apparel Company took over the web domain. I see. So they just sold the domain. We've sold a few domains on our day, yeah. If Sierra no longer claims copyright on that mountain logo, I'm taking it.
Well, Half Dome is just a natural feature of Yosemite, so what they have have the variation with all the lines, but which is actually really similar to the old AT&T Death Star logo.
Yeah. Eden Waite says, for a temporary variable name, I like using Fublat, which is sort of a mix between Fubar and Orat.
Ah.
Yeah.
Like Orat on a stick.
Molly Metroid shows up. It's a surprise Molly.
Yay! Surprise Molly wanders in.
Yes, and Roadwork says near our university, the only place open after 11 p.m. was a donor shop.
That's a donor shop.
Donor shop.
Yeah, D-O-N-E-R.
Okay, yeah.
We ate a lot of falafel.
I'll bet you did, yes. It's all a matter of where you are, yes. And Arlo says, it's kind of amazing how much faith you guys had in the promise of these things, that you just took your card with some holes in it and added a few more. Yeah, well, that's the way it was. Do you know the way to San Jose? Da, 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 da. Yes, we do.
Did I say a couple parts of it earlier?
Yes, and Honey Boo Boo says, woo, time to dust off the great classic IP. Yay, yes.
Well, we understand that the original version of Mickey Mouse from Steamboat Willie is
public domain.
Is now public domain.
As you all have heard, because it was all over the internet and people were making parodies of it right and left, yes. Brainiac says, somebody actually discussed that Sierra proper doesn't even exist on paper anymore and thought there was no chance of Microsoft doing anything with the franchises.
Well, no is such a strong word, you know. It is a non-zero percentage, but it may not be as high as 1%.
All right. And their comparison says it would be like Disney doing anything with the LucasArts games franchises other than Star Wars. And he said this after the return to Monkey Island had been out for over a year. Okay. Okay.
Well, nobody can really believe that Monkey Island came out, the return to Monkey Island came out, so it's still fantasy.
Okay, Ray Smashes says, my grandfather had to write punch card programs for his masters in the late 60s. He never knew if they worked because nobody ran them to check, including the instructors. Well, that makes it easy if you realize that's what's going to happen to it. I know I have always been furious when I did work, and I knew nobody was even going to look at it.
Well, in my senior year of college, I took a class in compilers, and one of our tasks was to write a Pascal compiler in IBM 360 assembly language. And I had a partner who was off campus, and he said it's really hard for him to get in and get any computer time, so he collaborated with me writing the entire compiler, and he wrote the manual for it. And the interesting thing was, I did the early versions of it and got it up and running. And I kind of had a head start over other students because I had already taken a year off working for Computers of Canada. So I was actually a semi-pro programmer by this point. So it was no problem. But after we did the initial simple version of it, the instructor said, okay, now for extra credit, add in error checking that will report if there's a problem with the source Pascal program. So I said, okay, well, let's see what happens if I take the sample input he gave us and run it through my current version of the program. And it turned out I got a whole set of error messages that pointed to the exact lines of the source code that were wrong, and discovered that the way I had written the program, it interacted with the 360 assembly language features to that the basically it automatically already did what he was asking for.
Congratulations.
So that was what they call emergent behavior.
Ah, yes. That's a very important term.
And that certainly is relevant to our games because, we write all these things to the best of, our intention of letting players try different things and having what results we can give them. But players will always try things we never thought of. And the nature of the parser is such that emergent behavior happens. And so they can type something in that we didn't expect them to type in, and it may actually come out with something that sounds like a reasonable response.
Yes, because the early parsers were a form of AI, in effect.
If you say so. They were a predecessor to natural language,
yes, really.
natural language processing, which is a subset of AI. Yes.
Yeah, to that. All right, Arlo says now. King's Quest, Quest for Glory, Leisure Suit Larry, and Space Quest all take place in the same universe as Task Times in Tone Town, while Maniac Mansion, Zack, Monkey Island, and Loom all take place in the same universe as Donald Duck Land. And the AGI's Donald Duck's Playground game must have shifted verses to be in the same universe as Maniac Mansion now.
Well, that's a very interesting theory. I don't think it's true, but Quest for Glory is definitely not in the same universe as Leisure Suit Larry.
Yeah. And Molly asks, has she missed anything important while I've been away? Nothing. Nothing is important here. Yes, Leslie.
We changed year numbers. So if you still write checks, somebody advised putting 24
on your checks.
24 on the end of all your checks.
But how many people still?
The 2 checks I write a year, I decided that wasn't important.
Yes. Enchantress Aziza says, visited my friend in Playa del Rey this summer. How cool. And then she took me to Solvang. Yes, I haven't been to Solvang in, before Sierra, so.
I lived in Playa del Rey for my senior year of high school.
Yep. Mr. Bannon says, I can't wait to see you two play your own game. Yeah.
Well, you have to wait because we're busy answering questions.
Right, we'll get to it. We'll get to it shortly.
Maybe.
I want to get it before 3, okay? Fun?
Okay.
Yes, so I am watching the clock, yes. Defined important. It's always fun here, at least. Yes. New developments, announced stuff. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, in previous streams, we ran, I think it was Quest for Glory 2, and we were chatting like this while the opening screen was up on it, and it turns out that we had shown the movie or something like that, anyway, the program had started the timer.
Yes.
It was 2.
It was 1.
Two.
Okay, fine.
It had started the timer, and we starved to death on the opening.
Yes, we're very good at this.
On the opening menu.
We are terrible at playing our own games. There's a reason why we don't do it.
I did decide on Heroes Quest this time. Previously, we've run as a thief because we wanted to promote Heroes Quest, and I think as a magic user because I always used to play magic users. But I believe today I'm going to be a warrior, because I'll actually be able to do the combats without running away from them.
Okay.
Whereas since I never could figure out the interface for casting spells and stuff, made it kind of hard to play it as a magic user.
Muzzbuzz says, I think EGA was really beautiful. King's Quest 3, for example. I love the abstraction of it. Even King's Quest 1 was beautiful. Good. And then...
it was more beautiful back then, because on small monitors, when you had these low-resolution 320 by 200 pixels was AGI, that all those pixels were scrunched in close enough together that to your brain, they interacted with each other and made it look like smooth painting.
It wasn't as pixelated as it looks now.
If you take one of those old games and you put it on a modern, 1920 by 1080 or bigger monitor, and it stretches it out, you'll see all the individual pixels, and it's not as beautiful as it used to be.
And Brainiac says, the Infamous Games looks like it's about to release the Rome to Ruin game they've been working on for some time, though. Yeah, I saw that announcement, too.
I think I supported that on Kickstarter. Yeah, that's a sequel to Infamous Quest, is that what it was called?
I think it was. I'm sure they'll tell us if they don't. Right.
But which was sort of a remake of Heroes Quest, with a Rotter as the main character.
It was sort of it's the kind of genre, yes.
Yeah, and it's it's a parody game, but it really came into its own, and it actually it wasn't a very rotten Rotter.
And it wasn't much of a parody. It was really its own thing.
Yeah, we approve of that.
Yes.
So people that say, "Oh, I want to make games in your world," it's like, why? Our world is a thinly veiled copy of Earth, and it's not actually all that creative or amazing.
It's not that thinly veiled. It's not that much of an Earth at this point. It did go off on its own. So Arlo says, "Jeez, was so caught up listening to myself talk, I didn't even notice we had a spammer here." Yep. So we had to boot him.
Yeah, I'm not
And
going to
so
Google that.
let's
It takes me a minute, which means your
Yes,
spam
really.
has its effect.
Yes.
I just finally had to kick someone off of our Discord because they were repeating just completely false. What's the?
Or was he on the politics channel?
It was on the politics
Of course.
channel, and was talking about how President Trump
Never
offered
mind.
10,000 troops to Nancy Pelosi and stuff like that. So, forget it. We don't need conspiracy nonsense here.
Yes. All right. I thought King's Quest V was too much somehow. I didn't like the change to the point and click. I love the text parser. We know the people that have been the long term were always, love the text parser. But maybe I was just also aging out of the magic of the genre somehow.
Yes.
There we go. That happens too. Yes.
So.
Oh, and Molly has to leave again. Busy. Well, thank you.
Well, thanks for coming.
And Valiant Cheese showed up.
Hi, Valiant Cheese.
Welcome. Of course, we're behind the times.
We're I don't know how many chats.
Yes,
I could
I
look
know.
over there and find out, but I don't care.
Uh-huh.
So anyway, yeah, we discovered that with Dungeons and Dragons because when you first play D&D, you're all starting out with new level 1 characters, and you have the mystery of the terrifying monsters you're fighting, which are kobolds and orcs and things, and every battle is scary, and it's discovery. And the first time you come across a gelatinous cube, in the old days you had no idea what it was
Because you didn't have the
because you
monster's
didn't
manual.
yeah, only the dungeon master had the monster manual, and in fact, let's see, we were still in the 3 booklets plus Greyhawk and Blackmore back then, so we weren't up to Advanced Dungeons and Dragons even yet. So we didn't have a fancy, colorful monster manual.
Yep.
So it was all mystery excitement. So we came back, 5 or 10 years later, and we all decided we'd start over with new first level characters, and it was completely not the same experience because we all knew, you see a rust monster, and to put away your metal, weapons and armor.
You learned that from playing Rogue. I mean, really.
Well, yeah.
So, at any rate, let's see. I feel like all the series had a rough time adjusting to point and click for that first game, but subsequent games got the hang of it. Space Quest V was awesome, for instance, as was Larry 6. Quest for Glory 4 is the fans' favorite. Yes. Bye, Molly, and I should play Space Quest V. I never have.
So actually, King's Quest V is one of the most popular of the King's Quest. So that was where Jane Jensen came in, I think, and did the writing for it with Roberta, which means that mostly Jane did it. It was funnier and punnier than the previous King's Quests, a little less serious, and was supposed to have been pretty good.
Bill asks, can you explain why the AGI engine was impossible to use for an RPG in 1988? Could fans do it today if they had unlimited programming time?
Well, it all depends on what you're trying to do with it. I mean, as I said, the first the first computer role-playing games I played were on Play-Doh, but the first commercial ones was Temple of Apshai, and that game was, I think it had line drawings for the outlines of rooms, but there wasn't even any text in the game. You had a book that came with the game, and it gave you, paragraph 78, and you would turn to paragraph 78 in your book to get the description of the room you had just entered. So at that level, obviously could be done on even a CPM machine that only had 48 or 64K of memory. So obviously in 1988 on PCs that had massive 640 kilobytes of memory, yeah, you could do it. It's a question of what are your expectations. We wanted to actually show things. We wanted to have real art. We wanted to have animation because Sierra was good at doing animation. So all those things would have just blown through the memory and AGI very quickly.
Because there's no space on the computers. It's mostly because the computers were getting expanded and the capabilities of the computers. So the answer to, let's see, where is it? Why SCI makes a RPG more possible was because the computers were finally able to handle it, so you could put the RPG code on top of the SCI code. So we modded effectively what Sierra's code did to make Quest for Glory.
So the biggest market for Sierra Online games was MS-DOS and later Windows. And MS-DOS mostly ran on Intel architectures, which means that the computer could only address 64 kilobytes at a time, just like, it's just really a flashback to CP/M. So you had a very small amount of memory in which to, write any kind of handling of text entry or what you're going to do with it.
Valiant Cheese says Disney played a role in the Grim Fandango Day of the Tentacle and Full Throttle remasters happening too. Yeah, well, yes.
There you go.
So it's
back
entirely possible Microsoft will have a role in the remakes of our games.
So Al Lowe, better known for Leisure Suit Larry, programmed the Winnie the Pooh game, A Thousand Acre Wood, for Sierra. And what did they do? Sierra did the Black Cauldron.
Yeah. So Sierra was
based on
tied
Disney
with
movie.
Disney until Disney decided they wanted to do it themselves. So
yeah.
that broke that reliance. Let's see. And
all right, Arlo has a better answer than mine. Said
okay.
Because SCI was object-oriented, had better support for more variables, strings that persisted beyond a room, etc.
Yes.
Also, also supported day and night scenes for single room. Not really. Quest for Glory had day and night scenes, but we had custom programming to do that. And it was a lot of work. But we had some pretty clever artists on the team that figured out ways to make a room look like it was at night and worked with Bob Heitman, the programming director, came up with ways to do overlays and programming tricks to do that. And we had kind of a fade out in the evening and in the morning to go between the night and day.
We really played games with the code.
Yeah, so there was no day and night until Heroes Quest,
yes.
I don't think.
Arlo says, Quest for Glory so takes place in the same universe as Leisure Suit Larry. Corey didn't know that after the hero became king, he had many children, and Leisure Suit Larry is his descendant.
I never knew that.
I didn't know that.
I still don't.
First goes timers. And the prequel to the first Quest for Infamy. Yeah. And
Quest for Infamy, that was the title.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Quest for Infamy, yeah. Being owned by the same company has to imply taking place in the same universe. Otherwise, Quest for Glory can't take place in the same universe as Diablo.
Well,
that's closer. Closer. World of Warcraft, closer, but nah. And that's what those adaptive filters and smoothing is for. EGA, pixels forever. Yes, that's the yes. And Ab says Stephen Alexander is announcing Rome to Ruins to answer the question somebody just had. Yes. So congratulations to Stephen Alexander.
Finishing a game is hard.
Yes. And
maybe he'll promote it a little better than I've done with
Starter Up Thistledown says point and click and VGA seemed like magic when it came out, but now I want those games to go back to parser.
Well, which one do you like better?
I've always liked the VGA. I like the point and click because I didn't like fighting the parser, because I felt like the problem with a parser game is to get any action you had to work the parser, and you didn't play the game as much as figure out the parser rules. So I want the interface to be invisible. I want to be intuitive. I want to live in these games. So that was always my thought. I didn't really want to play a game. I wanted to live in that universe.
So Dr. Brian Moriarty wrote text adventure games for Infocom and then went to LucasArts, where he wrote Loom. And he did a good article on the problems with graphic adventure games, and said the fundamental rule is that in a graphic adventure game, anything that the player can do, the game must show. And however, there was never enough resources to show anything.
Right. So you're caught in that conundrum.
So it's a resource issue. Got 100 times worse when we went to CD-ROMs and later to DVD-ROMs, because fans expected those CD or DVDs to be filled up with assets and to be relevant, which means that game companies felt like they had to do really advanced animation and sophisticated graphics and voice acting and all these other things, all of which added to budgets and time.
Yeah. Valiant Cheese says, regarding wanting to make stuff in your world, I think people just want to be connected to and celebrate the things that they're inspired by. And I don't think lots of people are equipped to do that and / know that they can do that in more original ways. It comes from a place of positivity for sure, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, we've heard from a number of people that, say they've adapted Quest for Glory into tabletop role-playing rules. And yay.
Anyway, it says, I love origin stories, hence one of the reasons Quest for Glory 1 is one of my favorites from the Quest for Glory series. The wannabe hero is a weakling and needs to build up and improve, which is a good lead-in to start the game over here, because it is 3 o'clock.
Oh, dear.
But to go through
But that is a trope in pretty much all role-playing games.
Yeah, but it wasn't when we were starting out. We really were one of the few to have that kind of concept in a game, in a computer game. Okay, so going through just want to go through the things. Let's see, and Happy New Year, Coles from Ragnuts. Yes, Happy New Year to all of you. Unnecessary Gamer says, good morning, Coles. Happy New Year. And Enchantress Aziza said, agree, Eden. love Quest for Glory 1. And 2 is my favorite, though.
But they can all read this too.
They can, but we're reading it out loud to give them the reinforcement that we actually read what they write. King's Quest 6 was my favorite of the series. Some quality writing in it, in my opinion. And Brainiac says, I can't imagine why. And why number 2 was Enchantress Aziza's favorite.
Why Enchantress Aziza liked Quest for Glory 2.
Yeah. And Belsar said, I enjoyed King's Quest 4 too. For finally having a female protagonist, if nothing else, yes.
Zella's a great character.
Roadworks Gaming says, Valiant Cheese, hey, we were gonna plug your Star Wars game interactive history, but the site is down, no longer up. Okay. It's working for me here. Okay, must be my VPN. Okay, we'll have to see what's going on.
Try it?
We could. And
cheesetalks.net. The phrase flummoxer they wrote for us.
/ Star Wars
games.
Oh, there it is. Yes, it works. So
it works.
So give them an address if you want to check this out.
Yep.
Yay!
That's a very interesting history of the all the Star Wars games.
Yeah.
By Cheesiness Valiant Cheese, who
yes, let's see, and
helped us out.
Enchantress Aziza said King's Quest 6 was the first RPG I saw by myself without having watched my dad or older brother first.
Oh, I was going to say that about the stepping the same river twice and trying to recreate the feeling of the first game you played. People do tend to like the first game they played in a genre the best.
Yeah.
So people who started on Heroes Quest like it best. People who started Quest for Glory 1 VGA like it best.
Usually, yes. If you started with the parser, you like the parser because it is a much more difficult, more complicated game. But if you started with the point and click, you don't want the parser. So let's see. Arlo says that that's a thing that King's Quest 4 did an excellent job of capturing the female perspective. But subsequent games with female protagonists are still like playing an everyman. Laura Bow is no different than playing as Leisure Suit Larry, and playing as Annie is no different than playing as Zack. I wish we had more games like King's Quest.
Very good point.
Yeah, I mean, oddly enough, I have one game in my series that's really a female protagonist, and I have to say, I mean, Tilly's Tale, at least you know she's a character, and she is a personality, but... No.
That is your lowest selling game. That must be because you have a female protagonist. Couldn't have anything to do with husbands.
Right,
promote it.
Roadworks Gaming says, maybe just take a note of the current tame and check logs for any blocks. No idea about your web infrastructure. And then Roadworks says, I have ExpressVPN. And Belsar said, I think Laura Bow did a not bad job at all for portraying a female protagonist. It is true that the two major designers for Laura Bow, one was Bruce
Bruce Balfour.
And the other really was
Doug Herring.
So yeah, right.
And neither one of them was particularly female.
Yes. So the fact that basically, Roberta did give them the concepts of how to play the game, of what should go on, but she didn't actually write the situation. So yeah, it was written from a male point of view, really. She did come across a number of situations that played out in a way they did because she was a female in that era. Okay, yeah, so they did pick that. And Honey Boo Boo says, I disagree completely, Arlo. Amun-Ra was the first game I really enjoyed the experience and learned something about playing from a female perspective. Good.
Hey.
I mean, just because I write male characters doesn't mean I'm not totally familiar with the male, what a male is like. And
she based them on me.
Yeah, really. No.
Like
okay.
The blacksmith.
Yes.
Isser, yeah, that was me.
Laura's at least slightly more sensible than Larry, that's for sure. Yeah, I'm glad. And Laura was intelligent and observant, which contributed significantly to her being able to solve the mystery and survive the night. And those are good qualities.
And by the way, Lori and I are terribly bad at playing adventure games and trying to solve puzzles and stuff. And that's generally true of many puzzle designers. Are much better at making puzzles than solving them.
Tari says, "Hey, your guests keep dying. Hey, quit barging into my room, young lady." Yes. And Laura was never sleazy, unlike Larry. Yes, they are very different games. And The Black Cauldron was weird. The movie wasn't anything like the books. The game wasn't very much like the movie, but I enjoyed all three.
Oh, there
That's
you go.
Great. I have never gotten around to actually watching the movie. I love the books.
I think I did see the movie.
Well, it's on Disney, so we could watch it, and we were going to watch it someday to see. And then, of course, we didn't play the game, so we're behind the times. It's only been more than 30 years. Yes.
I played the early part of the game.
Okay. Your night scenes are done with programming. I used SCI Studio, and there's definitely built-in support for multiple game palettes for
color palettes.
Color palettes, yes. Well, that's yes. And also, Roberta Williams has said how they did night scenes in King's Quest IV. They specifically built that feature as a requirement. Oh, okay.
Okay. Well, King's Quest IV came before Heroes Quest, so...
Yeah. Right, so they probably had that.
I'd trust her.
Yeah. Fighting the parser sounds like an adventure jam game to poke fun at the parser interface. In a way, how Star Wars was poking StairQuest was dangerous stairs and trails from Sierra Games.
Which we all hated.
Right. We're getting behind the times, so why don't you load up the game and I will talk. I will read these lines. Have you ever played the Gateway games? They were text adventures, but the parser was added to the GUI, removing the whole guess the dictionary part of the text. That's interesting. No, we haven't. Now we just download 100 gigabytes of games. Yeah, really. And Belsar said, exactly. Laura was often dismissed and underestimated, and therefore able to get away with a lot more things than she would otherwise would have because she was a female and young. So, yeah, they took advantage of what they were trying to do. If anyone wants to hear Brian Moriarty talk about Loom and the different mechanics in it, here's a public talk he gave a couple of years ago. Yeah, I'd definitely follow up with that. We'd probably want to look at that, too. Because Brian Moriarty was quite the influencer on the industry, at least on LucasArts games. Arlo says, I don't think anything in the game implies that people dismiss Laura because of her gender. She's often also dismissed by other women who are more confident than her. I think it's more that she's not part of that family. She's just some friend that was invited there by the black sheep of the family. Also, she's young. And that's a common theme in most games, is they make people dismiss you to make it harder for you. People don't take Roger Wilco seriously either. No. That's true, but okay. You need to scroll down. Yeah, scroll down over here. I'm just trying to get...
I can't easily do that.
Oh, you can't.
That'll screw
that. Dang it! This is so stupid. Okay, fine.
You told me to play that.
I know. Let's see. Brainiacs. I almost forgot. It's going to be a while until the Coles reach this, yes, but the YouTube musician Katya Savia is planning on doing a Quest for Glory medley and is getting funding for it now. It's already funded for the minimum, but it has a stretch goal for a lot more pieces being included. Okay to post a donation list?
Yes, you may.
Yes, please do so.
Yes, we like Katya's music.
And her gender definitely colored some people's interactions with her in Dagger of Amun-Ra. Yeah, well.
Back to Lorbo, yeah.
Yes, Lorbo, yes. And,
as opposed to Katya is the same gender.
Yes, she is the same gender, so yes.
Or at least presents as the same gender.
Right. Eden says, it hurts me to see games that large. I love the play dates since some of those games can easily be under 100 kilobytes. Yes, kilobytes. Small little games that could easily fit on a floppy disk.
Well, Sierra normally shipped on 1 or 2 floppy disks for their games. Then we came along and started getting ambitious with Heroes Quest, and I believe it was so on the Atari ST version, it was only like 4 3.5-inch floppy disks, 720K each. But on the PC version with 360K floppies, they were still using at the time. I think we were 9 discs for the first game, and that totally blew their build budget because it costs money to put every one of those discs in the game.
Honey Boo Boo says, dealing with being underestimated, doubted at every turn, snubbed more so than I've been consistently encountered as a man for one. Pretty eye-opening. More than that, showing what patience, persistence, and diligence can do for you, even and especially as a woman. Moreover, how other characters treat you, both good and differently.
Good, bad, and different. Yeah.
Really just a general, overall different feeling. I was very proud to have solved the crime when I finally did so. More so as a woman. Okay. Let's see. You just mentioned female protagonists. Would you say it was a conscious decision that all early Sierra protagonists were male, or is it just how it stands?
Yeah, so we proposed Heroes Quest as having 3 different races and both genders. And that would have given us 6 character variations you could play. And they started pointing out to us, Bob Heitman in particular, the fact that
it wasn't possible.
At the time, people did not all have hard disks. Many people played directly from the floppies. And with 360K in a floppy disk, you would have to have all 6 variations on every floppy disk. It was just impossible. So we cut out the 3 races, and eventually we cut out the female choice.
And Belzar says people can be sexist towards their own genders too, especially those from older generations. Yes, they can. And Bill Kuhn said, I agree. Chronicles of Prydain is the crown of all young adult literature that I have ever read. It's definitely on that list.
What about The Hobbit?
Yeah, well, we'll never get to the game. Start the game.
Yeah.
Gee.
You said you had to go through all those.
I know. Let's see.
So, desktop. Okay, so we have this tiny little window now. I think I can do like Control Enter. No, Alt Enter. There we go. Alt Enter. This is our copyright warning. And, by the way, you'll need the information contained in the print documentation successfully. In other words, it's not just the law, it's a good idea. Play on, it's not just a good idea, it's the law.
Yeah.
And this is all probably a lie, because you can play the game quite easily without the documentation.
Yeah, but we had to do something.
Wanted hero for the village of Spielberg.
This is the screen we crashed the game on.
Was it? I
yes,
thought it was a Game 2 version of this.
It was this one with the bug. Yes, click on the bug.
Click on the bug?
Yeah. Oh, it doesn't say it.
Nope, that was the second game we did that.
Oh well.
Okay, so we had these bugs. There's an invisible bug crawling across the screen and figuring out the speed of your computer. So then that adjusts speeds internally. We didn't want to bother with the intro this time, did we?
No.
Start new hero. Anyway, fighter magic user.
Turn it down a little bit.
I do. I don't know if I can now. Let's see.
Let's see, and I will read. That's one way of.
I choose fighter. There we go.
Yes. You can adjust this while we're.
I could do it globally. Oh no, I can't.
Yeah, this is an old game.
All right, Ralph the Wonder Hero.
All right, you could put that.
Let's put some points into strength. Whatever tab to move around.
And
vitality.
Vitality.
Arrows this way. Okay, let's get some extra vitality.
Yeah. Let's see. Aziza
weapon
says,
use is important.
I was and still am an equal King's Quest and Quest for Glory fan since my dad pretty much brought them home at the same time. King's Quest is obviously older, and I solved King's Quest 3 with my mom's help as a 4-year-old. Wow. But both have my heart the same. And,
I never lost her son entirely.
We did.
Seems like a quiet little town. On the porch ahead of you are 2 people. The standing one is large, rather ugly, and playing with a yo-yo. The seated person smoking a pipe looks like he might be the sheriff. There have been questions about this font, and I believe it was invented by someone at Sierra. Maybe,
Yeah.
I think Bob Heitman may have done this with using graph paper. The man with the pipe greets you. Welcome to our town. You are lucky to have made it down from the mountains before the snow blocked the pass again. It's gotten pretty dangerous outside of town, I understand. Many monsters have been trapped around here with the late snow. Between them and the brigands, we certainly could use a hero around here.
Da-da-da. That's our way of giving you your that's all of your foreshadowing, your forestory right there in 2 lines.
And of course, we had worked out all this story as to what was going on with this pass being blocked and so on. Because the question is, how do you justify keeping players in the area that we actually have programming for?
Yes, let's see.
I am Sheriff Schultz Meisterson. This is Otto von Goon, my assistant. What do you call yourself? What's your name? And you can put anything you wanted, but if you put in your own name, good luck in your quest, Ralph. I think that'll actually change your name if you change it there. Going up to the menu. Game, sound volume. Let's try like a 3. Although we're not getting any sound for some reason, it has gone away.
Yeah, we've killed the sound for however we managed
Maybe
to
we
do
broke.
that. We broke something, yeah.
So let's say. So what we did to deal with the parser is I made some shortcut keys. Control A doesn't do it by itself. Control A, as I said, types ask about for you. And that encourages players to ask questions using the form ask about because we handle that. Mm-hmm. Ask about brigands. There's a whole band of brigands hiding out somewhere in the mountains around us. That's not the same accent I had before. They robbed a merchant just last week. Got a fair amount of treasure, I hear.
Let's see. About gender. We could have, in our later games, we won't actually do that in this game. When we were talking about how to go about designing games, we could have a protagonist you could choose to be male or female. But to my mind, unless there is significant change, a behavior change, depending upon what gender you choose, what's the point of being able to have a choice? Because it's just an appearance choice, not a real gameplay choice.
So SCI did some pretty advanced things with context. So when you type something, it passes that message using object-oriented programming to the room you're in. The room says what characters and other objects are near the player, and so it sends the message to them and says, do you want to handle this? And the object either handles the message and returns a value saying, I handled this, or it says, I didn't handle this. And then it kind of goes down and cascades through all the objects in the room and the room itself and into the region and into the game code and then into the system defaults. So something eventually will handle the message. So in this case, we have the sheriff taking priority, but he doesn't understand yo-yo. We didn't think to program ask about yo-yo. So we have a generic sheriff message the sheriff says, you think I'm going to tell you everything I know about everything? Go look around and find things out for yourself. So that's how it feels as though you're really having a conversation with him and he's just getting a little sick about you asking stupid questions.
Yeah.
But really it's just a default fall through on the character level. These stairs are the reason that Bob Heitman told us we could not have, besides the disk space and memory space, a centaur player character. Said you'll never get a quadruped to walk up and down stairs properly, especially since they mirror it and they use the same motion whether you're going up or down.
So now you know. Muzboys says King's Quest 3 was my favorite of all times, perhaps because I was at just the right age, but I loved the interactive theater of it, in that Manananon moved to a schedule, leaving you alone to do mischief, and that awesome magic book system tied everything together in an open and exciting way.
Yeah, a large part of these games is done by the player's imagination. Our music came back.
It did.
So if you have sufficient imagination, then you have all that interaction with the game, which is mostly not actually programmed in.
Oh, well, it clearly part of it was, yes.
You can find what you seek here.
Yes. There we have Shami.
Totally Blockingham.
Yes.
Ask about town. Although in this valley I now have friends, I miss my homeland terribly. This won't work, of course. Ask about lodging. Oh, he did.
He recognized that.
Understood the word lodgings. Very nice room. Very soft beds. Finest in town. Only 5 silvers a night. Ask about money. Alas, the brigands stole all of Abdullah's wealth and mine own when they robbed his caravan. Now I am forced to stay in this wet, cold land. All right, if we look for Control I for inventory, we'll find we have 4 gold coins. We're rich.
We are.
4 gold coins and 10 silver coins, and it was just 5 silvers for a meal.
So let's kill the game for a second and go get our scroll down so we can interact with our
first
people.
I'm going to sit down. We'll show the context sensitive. It knew that
Yes.
you were near a chair, and so it was able to animate moving to the chair. There's really no pathfinding in the original SCI. They added it in the VGA era. They finally added some pathfinding. So it's all straight line movements, effectively. This is your line.
I am Shima. Allow me to serve you, wanderer from afar. Do you wish food or drink?
Order a meal.
With great pleasure will I serve you a fine meal.
So the parser was able to see the word A is not relevant and throw it out. And then order meal was the actual thing handled by the parser.
Right, so effectively we were still down to practically 2-word commands. And we were, for 2-word commands for most of our game experience at Sierra. Really, they boil down to subject and verb, and then maybe...
you can do a little more than that, but not much.
Yeah.
On Quest for Glory 2, Pablo Guenes was hired by Sierra and came in and made the parser vastly more sophisticated and huge. So when they started going to the VGA and they needed more memory for graphics, first thing to strip out was the parser.
That's the one that they had worked so nicely and had so
sophisticated.
And it was killed because,
Now this dragon cursor is what we call a hands-off cursor. The game is at this point in hands-off mode, so you cannot type anything and screw the game up. I'm hitting keys, nothing's happening. When I hit the enter key, you thank Human Pay Her automated that, so you can't screw with it. And we're still in hands-off. Now we have the sword cursor back. I'll just say eat. Food tastes surprisingly good. The beverage goes down smoothly and well, so you don't have to do both. Get up in the older games. I've had early adventure games that said, I see no up here when you try to get up. All right, you wanted to come back to this.
I did, because there's a lot of people have talked.
Okay. Or KQ3, favorite all time. As a 4-year-old, putting the spells together to turn Mananon into a cat was the first time I felt my heart racing as my mom yelled out how to spell all the words.
Ah, great, yes.
Yeah, my brother had his 4-year-old daughter sitting in his lap while they played Heroes Quest together. And
Brainiac says there's at least one character that is canonically based on you, Gory. I am, of course, referring to Scory and
Scory and Slory were 2 of the merchants, yes. And they are a little self-mocking of ourselves and our own relations.
And who was Henry the Hermit based off of?
Henry the Hermit?
He was clearly based off of...
I'm Henry the Eighth, I am.
Yes.
Henry the Eighth, I am. And Of course, that was by Herman's Hermits.
Yeah, Herman's Hermits.
Herman's
So
Hermits.
that was why we had Henry the Hermit there.
My older sister was a great Herman's Hermits fan when I was a kid.
So that's where we pulled that one from. I mean, not that it had any resemblance to it, but we dropped the H's and made him talk. I made him say a lot of words to drop the H with, yes. Let's see, we're back on gender, but then Corey's lizard jerky is legendary. Okay.
For the record, I have never made any form of jerky.
I have.
Lori has.
I have in the oven, yeah. I've enjoyed TBC games.
Lori does 90 to 95% of all our cooking because she doesn't mind it. B, it tastes good. Yeah. And C, I will happily other stuff. So
Eden Waith gives another vote for the original Prydain Chronicles are one of my favorite book series. Yep. The movie has great art.
We could skim over this a little.
Yes. I'm kind of. And then Freelancer said, good evening. Welcome to everybody. And Belsars, yes, let's see. An open-minded discussion in the spirit of scientific inquiry. You're very welcome. Thank you very much. Let's in Muzzbud. Back to...
I was talking to the gender discussion.
Yes. Says...
Spellcasting was intense. I loved it.
Can't believe you did that stuff at age 4. I can't believe you were that young when we were
Caesar's dad worked at Radio Shack, so he did it first.
Okay.
Now, the Tandy 1000 computer was the baseline at Sierra that everybody hated.
And that was Radio Shack, yes.
That was Radio Shack's Tandy 1000 and Tandy 2000. That our games had to run on them. We had a major, Sierra had a major contract with Sierra, and the machines ran the original 4.77 megahertz processors with a 8088 8-bit processor.
They were very primitive, in other words.
And it was very hard to get any sort of frame rate.
The other thing that we had was a morality code. If we were going to be on Tandy, they had certain things like no cuss words or anything like that in our games.
I think Kmart had the same sort of rules.
Kmart did. Well, Walmart did.
I don't think we had Walmart at the time.
We had Walmart later, yes.
Yeah, later.
So we had to deal with Walmart. And then Brainiac says, and here is Katia Salvia's Ko-Fi. Currently at 122% of its goal for Shadows of Darkness medley. So if you want to get in on the early things and get a hold of that music, because she's a good musician.
We encourage you to support Katia because she does good music and does a very nice job of the
and Cragnet says, Corey, since you're playing Quest for Glory 1, can you pick your nose in the game?
I can fake pick my nose in real life.
But you can't because...
but I can't because I'm not a thief character.
Not a thief character.
That does, however, remind me of something we said we were going to do, and I can't do right now because we're tabbed out, is save early and often.
Oh, no! Can you save in this
Alt, Enter. Control Enter. Oh, you got to have focus.
You got to have focus, yeah.
Alt Enter. I can come up here and information, action, game. File, save game.
Save game. There we go. That was our game save system. Well, Sierra's game.
Yay, save.
Yay, we saved.
Save early and often. And I believe, okay, if I bring up something like the character sheet, this is one of the big innovations we made to Sierra Games is we went to D&D style character sheet. And you had all of these abilities and skills. And what we actually took from, not from Dungeons & Dragons, but from, what was the game? Rollmaster and games like that, was a Practice Makes Perfect system.
Arizona system of
also use that. That as you use your strength gets higher.
The concept that these things are going to keep incrementing because of your behavior throughout your actions of the game, which was not in a computer game at that.
No, we awarded puzzle points, which is a standard Sierra and other gaming thing. Of you had a maximum score, which is usually like 100, and we made it 500. And we awarded you 4 puzzle points for things we've done so far. And then experience is a completely artificial and arbitrary thing that you get from like fighting monsters and stuff. And it's actually kind of meaningless. There we go.
Let's see, and Brainiac says the medley for that CD will have the introduction, Mordavia, Tanya and Toby, meeting with Katrina, and a solo piano version of Irana's Garden. The stretch goal will add the Rusalka, Fairy Fountain, Rover Camp, and the Castle Dungeon tracks, plus adding a guitar to duet Irana's Garden and Katrina costume. Cool.
Interesting, you call it the Rover Camp. So we called them gypsies in that game. We didn't know at the time that the word gypsy has become a very bad word to use in anywhere in Europe. So we went to Rover for Hero U.
Yes. Dwayne said we were supposed to right-click on the scorpion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay. An unnecessary gamer says,
see, that's what happens when we fall behind.
If my dad has the printed documents at his house, can I still play? You probably could play. Yeah, no problem. Right-clicking on the scorpion does say it is the first bug in the game. Clever if that was put in place as a way to determine the computer speed.
And clever even if it wasn't.
Yes.
It just shows off there's some animation.
Ralph, I'm in danger. Yes. Let's see. I actually have the original fax manual from the first game and the manual for the fifth, but only those. Everything else is downloaded PDF.
Now, Freelancer 117 actually paid bits, which I think will get us a fraction of a penny or something, in return for highlighting his message that was Devin Aidendale.
Redeemed, highlight my message at 380 points. Well, you too can redeem your points.
You can highlight your messages too. So Devin Aidendale is from this book. This book. Yeah. Is that the original one?
That's the Quest for Glory.
Advanced Strategy Guide. The Authorized Strategy Guide for Quest for Glory, written by Paula Spies with Lori and Corey Cole. Mostly with Lori. They helped a little. But what Paula did is she had, this is a Prima book, and what they did for adventure games is they had kind of a walk through the game and a story style, and for that Paula invented, or it was her own character, was named Devin Aidendale. And ever since then people have said, so we went out of our way to not give the hero a name. Right. You can put in your own name, and it's whoever you want to be. But ever since that book, some people really wanted the character to have a name. So say, Devin Aidendale, that's the character. And I wouldn't object to that so strenuously, except that the game is set in Germany, and it should have been a German-sounding name.
Well, let's see. Arlo says, well, he came all the way from England, clearly.
Klaus Schmidt,
Yeah. You guys always type Jester
Rudolph.
Wednesday to Ralph or something. I must be the only person in the world putting Hercules for the fighter and Merlin for the wizard.
I fairly guarantee you are not the only person in the world in that. We had, about 250,000 players of Heroes Quest and the Quest for Glory 1 remake. At least 250,000 players. And probably at least 1 million players if you consider pirated copies.
Brainiac always
and I will bet that some of them put in Hercules for the fighter name.
Yeah. Tashtari says, I made a version of this font for classic MS-DOS.
Mac OS.
DOS, rather, because I can't read that.
Because I love pointless projects. Well, good for you.
Yes, I tried that at first. Just wasn't exciting. Full name, which is hilarious by the time you reach King's or Quest for Glory 5, because the interface is not designed for lengthy names. Yes.
And by the way, if you do not put a hero in there, a name in there, it defaults to hero.
Yes, I'm pretty sure that does. It does. Do you recall if some other company created the Japanese ports of Quest for Glory 1 and Police Quest 2? The answer was no. We were doing it in-house.
Yeah, we had a Japanese woman who worked for the company doing the translations. Kiko, and she did work with. We did work with a Japanese company that did the marketing distribution.
Right. So mostly we were actually Akiko, that's right. Yeah. Let's see.
But I was just going to say on the hero thing. So I can type in ask about meal, but the player character doesn't say anything.
Yeah.
So there is no voice for the hero other than your own.
Because we wanted you to be that hero. Yes. My Quest for Glory 5 characters still have my entire name. Only Quest for Glory 1 VGA originating characters are truncated. Okay. And Roberts says, speaking of sound, I just want him to walk out the front gate. Yes. Ask about fun. Okay. The name won't fit in the import screen at all, but it works fine in game. I see. Let's see. Yes. So message passing can be pretty slow. How was performance on the message passage?
Oh, it was super fast.
Yes.
Yeah. This is kind of a simplified version of object-oriented programming. So the original Smalltalk, they said everything should be a class, an object, and they had a class integer for an integer number, and that turned out to be really slow. So eventually people decided if you wanted to have the number 7, just use a constant number 7.
All right, we have to...
Okay, we have to get into the game and do that.
No, we have to type, yes, they said...
Well, you have to get into it.
Ask about fun.
Say Alt-Enter. No, Control-Enter. No, why isn't it working?
You can still type
Alt
there, can't
enter.
you? All right, fine.
Okay.
Ask about fun.
Well, let's go over to somebody who's in the game and to ask them about it. Ask about fun. You will not need to use the word. It doesn't say that there is no fun here.
Yeah, it does not.
That would now see in an earlier game. That's exactly what would have happened because you're asking about something that isn't there.
For a good time called Hilde.
It would have said.
To see that.
It would have said there is no fun here.
There we have the eternal music.
And these graphics actually look better on our monitor, which is a shrunken version of this. So as they get squeezed down, they look better. So I am going to go along the road.
And I'm going to read Tajtari says, I like how in Quest for Glory 2, it helpfully passes ask about the map to the townsperson who just snuck up behind you and says, Ma Fimpt. Yes. Well, that's not very useful.
Ma Fimpt was something Lori got out of an Arabic book. Oh, here we are. The thing is blocked. What's going on here?
Our road has been blocked.
You're in a clearing at the edge of the forest. The road you have been following is completely blocked by a very recent avalanche. And that was something we felt strongly about. There were some things like in Leisure Suit Larry 2 where you were just stopped at the edge of the screen. And we said, if you're going to be stopped, it's going to be because you are visually blocked.
Yeah, we wanted to make everything obvious and make... the other thing I had to teach my artists that if you go out one side, you better come in from the same side, so that you had continuity between scenes. And it was like trying to teach people that. I mean, isn't that obvious? Oop, there we have him.
You can read that.
Really, I don't have a deep enough voice. Far from the frost field.
Far from the frost field fares forth this fighter. Hunger has hurled me hither from home. My name it is known in the Northlands as Bragi. Barter with blades clash, or bargain with me. I now have a World of Warcraft character named Bragi. He's a dwarf. I thought that was, dwarves and giants sort of went together in Norse mythology. Yeah, not really, but...
Yes, I will not forget how to do alliteration rhymes out of, reading Beowulf and the things in English class in college. That there was, and I loved that way of writing. So therefore, I had to have this in here, even if it wasn't.
Let's ask about giant. Bragi I be, to boast of my boldness, strong as the storm that sends forth the snow, fiercer in fighting than foes in their fury. Fear now this frost giant fighter and flee. Wait, he doesn't look like a flea.
Wrong spelling.
Ask about bargain. Said something about bargaining.
Mm-hmm.
Find me some fruit for to mellow my mead horn. Gift I will give of a gem that now glows. Jewel from Jotunheim, flare of the frost flame, fetch to me fruit that will fill up my fists. It looks like it will take a lot of fruit to develop those fists. Save game. Froggy.
Okay, so.
From the blue color of his skin and his huge height, you can tell this is a frost giant. That doesn't work. How does it work? Attack. I'm not sure what you're trying to do. Fight. Wait.
Okay.
Well, that's how good we are at fighting him. Courage you carry, but skill it is scanty. Face not this foe before fiercer you fight. So he's perfectly happy to fight with us, but he's not just going to kill us out of hand. But character sheet, Control C. Nope. Control. I don't know. Character sheet, information, character sheet. Our weapon use is 30. If this is a scale 1 to 100 or whatever, 0 to 100, it's really kind of low.
We lost some health points.
We lost 10 health points and 1 stamina point fighting him.
Well, if fighting could be said, by getting knocked out. Yeah.
And I could restore my save game, but no, this is what happens, so we'll do it.
Fine.
How about run? How about flee?
Flee.
Yep. Run. Oh, I slipped in the ice.
Yeah.
Running in the ice is apparently not a very good idea.
Okay. Let's go back to...
Hey, that we put some thought into that, clearly.
Yeah, we did.
I could, spacebar will repeat the last thing you typed.
All right, let's go back to people. Well, all right.
No, not quite yet.
You want us to have a fight? Oh, no.
Oh, we ended up with this cottage because I'm 1 square north of where we were. One row north.
Obviously, yeah.
You can read these.
The bright smell of fresh herbs mingles with the aroma of wood smoke as you near a hut by the side of the road. It is a hut. Look at all that lovely pixels.
On either side of the road are a large oak and a hut.
The road itself leads north to a castle in the distance and south to the crossroads.
Oh, it's good. It gives us some bearings.
Yeah.
I'm stuck. That's because I'm running still. Walk. Walk like a hero. What's going on over here? Can you... the creature which looks more like a small flying lizard than a bird. A tree. Oh, okay. So you can only apparently click in characters. This is a pixel. This is only a pixel. If this had been a real picture element, which pixel is an acronym for abbreviation for pixel element, picture element, you would have seen a real message. So there's stuff you can do in this scene, but I'm just going to go back to town.
Do we have time of day here?
Yeah, probably. Control. No, T is probably talk about. T is.
There it is.
It is mid-afternoon in day 1, so we just came up with general gradations of early morning. Oh, there's a sign on the door. Appears to be a note in the door of the barber shop. Well, let's go there and say read note. That might be too far. You have to go right up to it, I guess. A sign on the door of the barber shop informing whoever reads it that the barber is out to lunch. The door is locked. So that's one of those context-sensitive things that we were too far from the note for the note to grab the message, and so therefore it defaulted the room, and the room says there are notes in various places. There's also a thing, let's see, is there a way to show the maps? I don't know if there is, but if I went into debug mode. But
well, yeah.
There are actually 3 layers to this. So there's what you see on the screen. That's called the visual map. There is the control map, and that determines where you can walk, where you can't walk, what's blocked off, and it also controls things that are special. So each of these doors, the ground is painted a different color on the control map to indicate they're in the front of a door, and that therefore well, maybe not this one, but that other one by the end, that you can just walk into that door and open it. And that's because it looks at the control map and sees where you are. It's neither black nor white.
This room was animated by Jerry Moore. The reason why we
No. Mark Crow's younger brother?
No.
Oh, the animation.
No, the animation.
Oh, the animation, yes.
The reason why we have Otto playing with a yo-yo is because we had Jerry Moore as our major artist here. I mean, the backgrounds and things and the dithering was all Ken Nishaway.
No, okay. Now the background for this scene was Mark Crow's younger brother.
Did it? This got redone as Nishaway took over. So
the original version was very flat and cartoony. Didn't have any of this dithering.
Yes.
And it looked exactly like the colored pencil drawing that Laurie had done originally.
Okay, before we go anywhere else, I was going to say, let's get shop with our people. Yes.
Okay, fine. So, I'm at a pretty young centaur. Do you want to buy some nice fruits or vegetables? And as I said, if I go to the inventory or
character sheet, anyway.
Let's go to the inventory.
There.
That will freeze the game.
So we are
passing time. There's a reason I'm doing this. Alt tab and come over here, and that will shrink.
Yes, fine.
Webcam.
We don't need the webcam. Well, we can. Yes, all right, fine. So we're finished with this page. We have to scroll down. So unnecessary gaming. Let's see.
Hero isn't really masculine looking. It's pretty androgynous look to him, which is really just
a detail.
Had to do in very few pixels.
Yes, yeah. This game really doesn't have a lot of stairs, though. No, and there's a reason why, because it does start to look funky on stairs. The give and take with projects. The requirements say one thing, designers draw another thing, programmers say what is possible, feasible. Yes.
And there you get into a teamwork kind of thing. So the arrangement we had for Heroes Quest is we had a large cafeteria-sized room that we had cubicle walls blocked off a section for 6 or 8 people. And Laurie and I and 2 other programmers and 3 artists sat in that area, and any of us could at any moment turn to another or look across the cubicle and then see something on the screen. And the artists, of course, were having fun sketching things and so on.
It was highly interactive.
Yeah.
Ken did a lot of give and take with each
wonderful eagle painting, and then Jerry came up with a cartoon version of it. And Jerry Shaw, programmer, would look at that and say, "Oh yeah, we can animate that. Let's put that in the game."
Yeah.
And so there would be additions to the game that we never thought of, and were just little details to fill it out. But that was kind of an ideal circumstance because we were all in there in one place, working together, a lot of synergy. And so, the programmers would write what they were going to write, and the artists would draw what they're going to draw. But Laurie at any point could look over at them and say, okay, well, that's cool, but why don't you do this to it?
Yeah.
And would direct the artist to get something that was even better than either of them would have come up by themselves.
Well, that was an interesting theory. It didn't happen very often, but yeah.
Once in a while.
Let's see. And starter up Thistledown says, Hero U Centaur game confirmed. The power of 3D. Well, you will note that in the power of 3D, and we're talking World of Warcraft, which has all kinds of anthropomorphic characters, including centaurs, you do not have a player character centaur that they try to walk upstairs, and they certainly don't have that player character trying to go up see Henry the Hermit,
Oh, yes, that would have been fun to animate the centaur falling down.
Yes.
And that would have just killed the disk space and the memory. All right, Enchantress Aziza asked, did we know the next game would be in Shapir with the kata when we made this game? Well, yes and no. We knew that our intention was to do a 4-game series.
We promoted it. When we became the proposal, we proposed it as a 4-game series. Because it meant that Ken could look forward to having another game in the thing. It meant that we were ready to market this and brand it.
It meant that we'd have some job security.
Yes, it meant we had job security.
And it meant that we could tell an extended story that would go through more than one game.
And that's what we wanted to do. It also meant that we were going from the beginning knowing that we wanted this character to progress across the whole game. So
we did not have every detail, every game plotted out, but we did have a rough outline. We knew what the storylines, the characters, the settings were.
And so, yes, with having the kata in this game was definitely to have the lead-in to going to Arabian Nights, yes.
Okay, now the no part of that is that there was absolutely no guarantee that there would be a second game.
There was no guarantee we would have.
We were no guarantee we were going to finish this game. It was almost canceled.
Yes.
About 6 months into the project, Ken Williams was talking to Grukas and Galsa, our producer, saying, "I really don't get this game." And Grukas says, "Oh, I love this game." He said, and then Ken Williams' son, or I think it was Chris, might have been DJ, said, "Oh, this is so fun! I love this game." And Ken came out of the meeting saying, "I love this game."
Yeah.
And it continued. But the tradition at Sierra was that you never did a sequel to a game the following year. There were always 2 or 3 years between games, and you had other games in between. So there was absolutely no intention to have Quest for Glory 2 immediately follow Heroes Quest 1, or to change the name. But what happened is that they got the pre-sales order, the pre-orders for Heroes Quest, and Rick Cavett came and said, "I've never had this many pre-orders.
Yep.
This is crazy.
It was the right time, right place.
We're having to, really blow up, because all the discs were manufactured in-house in their warehouse, and they were having to run extra shifts and to make discs for this game. And when it came out, it was one of Sierra's fastest-selling games. I think it hit 100,000 in 30 days, which Sierra games regularly hit 100,000 units, but it usually took a year.
Yeah.
So they were blown away by that, and they immediately talked to us about extending Lori's contract, which is originally a one-game contract, and having us do the second game.
Yeah.
At which point they then changed all the rules on us.
And of course they changed the contract on us, so I wasn't making as much money off of the second game either. But other than that, Arlo says, "I seem to remember that Quest for Glory 5 giving you a key to get into the inn late at night. Was that right? That was a nice touch because I've encountered the same thing when staying at small inns in remote parts of other countries. A number of places have given me a key to get back in late at night. That's cool. It was a...
I have stayed at places like that, but they're certainly not common today.
The point of it was so that you didn't have that deadline, that time deadline for Quest for Glory 5, is that by this time you fought that, what time and night you had to be back at the town or back at the inn by, so that you could actually get a good night's sleep.
So if we get that far in this playthrough of Heroes Quest, we'll find that you can't get back into the town at night. The gates are closed.
Right. So that makes it, you have to deal with that. But having dealt with it for 4 games, it felt like you've already solved that problem for 4 games now. Let's simplify it so you don't have to go through the same kind of behaviors to solve it.
And by the time you're in Solmaria in Quest for Glory 5, you are a known quantity. You are a known hero.
Yes.
There aren't any trust issues going on. And especially with Anagramma. The innkeeper knows who you are and perfectly happy to give you a key.
And Arlo says, most notably, they did that in Castis?
I don't know.
When I visited the Elizabeth Bathory Castle and former dungeon.
Which I'm sure gave you warm, fuzzy feelings of the Dungeon of Quest for Glory 4.
Yeah, it's just my memories of Quest for Glory 5, but it made it feel so authentic. Cool. And it happens. A koala cursor, yes. Why did you go with the wolf for the hands-off? It's a dragon in theory.
It's a dragon head.
Yes, that's a dragon, in case you couldn't tell. They were very primitive, and you had to do that. There was a special editor to get your cursors. It wasn't even the main editor. You had to do it on a special...
Pixel by pixel basis.
Pixel by pixel, so that's a dragon head. And it had to fit in that right ratio, so yeah.
Now, I personally am terrible with icons. I do not read icons well. So I'll see something and say, well, is that supposed to be a tongue or a foot?
Honey Boo Boo says it's the imaginative aspect of the Quest for Glories in particular that made them feel so much more like RPGs. Modern games are so hyper-visual. They tend to be more story-bound. Quest for Glories had that choose-your-own-adventure feel. Love that. And that's what came from being a D&D player.
And our particular tabletop groups we played with, we were lucky enough that our first experiences were with dungeon masters who really emphasized the storytelling and letting the players be the star of the story and stuff like that.
Yeah, because, they were not, the story is all overall as it was the characters actually run the game, and that's the way we love to play. So most modern RPGs don't all turn to night or record days. Yeah, well, it's just easier, have an interactive dialogue.
All right, there's another question about the lock picking. So, despite the fact that I do not know how to pick locks, I will have to check this out. Okay. So we will have to save again, or did I just save?
You just saved, so you can do it. Yeah, I think so.
Or was it back at Broggy?
It was here. I thought you just saved, or you just went to that screen. No, you did.
No.
Okay, fine.
Okay, so this is Grocer. Well, she's a girl.
She is.
It's a girl, sir. So let us try pick nose. You don't have an appropriate tool.
Okay, there you go. Yes, let's see. Great little backstory to Henry the Hermit. That probably makes sense since the hermit doesn't have any wives, unlike Henry VIII. Yes, he was an hermit. True hermit there. Let's see, and bought my first couple of Sierra games, including Quest for Glory 2, from a Radio Shack. Yep. So Tanty was the Nintendo of computer games. At least it was the big distributor of computer games.
My brother's temporary job when he was in high school, his summer job was working for Radio Shack. Oh. And Barry was, you were supposed to read this.
I'm still reading this. I haven't gotten through this.
It won't.
Tashtari says you delicately insert your sword into your left
nostril. Yes, that's why I brought this up.
Yes, yes.
The fighter will need to get a handkerchief instead.
Ask the old lady if she
Kleenex.
has a spare
I go through
hanky.
zillions of Kleenex.
Is there a Quest for Glory D&D tabletop? Not that we've made it.
Not official.
Yes.
A lot of fans have made Dungeons and Dragons versions of Quest for Glory.
And Tashtari says, I remember trying to get Quest for Glory 1 running on an XT with a Hercules graphics card. It worked, but
It'd be an IBM PC XT, which would be a 286 processor, I believe.
It was unplayably slow because it had to scale the graphics. Yes, our first playing of Seventh Guest was on a terribly slow computer.
Yeah, Hercules was the very popular graphics card in the 70s. Late 70s came in as a very high resolution black and white card. So when I did the Atari ST conversion, Atari ST could actually run in 3 graphics modes. If you got a black and white monitor, it would go at high resolution, 640 by 480, or 400, I guess it was 640 by 400. In the color monitor, you could choose either medium res or low res. And you got either 4 colors in medium resolution or 16 colors in very low resolution, 320 by 200. And so I had to write the code so that it would, recognize what mode you were in and dither everything to work. And that was a big part of the system, actually.
All right. So we finished that page
of reading. There
are still some apples left from last season in the barrel. You may buy 10 for a silver, since they are so small. We will have fresh cherries in a couple of months.
So we have a cute Rosella-looking young lady, except that she's got a horse body that you can barely even tell in this picture. So we can say, buy apples. And you carefully select 10 of the best apples and pay the lady a silver piece. And inventory, we now have 10 small apples. Will that fill up Broggy's hands? We happen to know no. The magic number he's looking for is 50. And so I'm cheating by knowing that, but that's okay, because he would eventually figure it out. Spacebar repeats the last thing you typed, except when you accidentally hit a backslash by apples. Apples is... That's 30. 40. Should be 50, I think. 50 small apples. And we actually had the concept of weight carried. Your maximum weight capacity is 57 pounds, so... With our strength, which is not very high yet, we can barely carry this stuff without having handicaps.
It was the idea of inventory management that we didn't want you carrying 3,000 pounds of apples, for instance. so that by not saying you can't do that, we made it physically impossible for you to do. I mean, we
Let's
let
control
you know.
S is the character sheet.
Okay.
We have solved acquired 9 puzzle points for things we've done.
Good for
good.
us. Well, we gained back our stamina. Okay, now we can scroll down. Yes.
Did we get back to health too? I didn't notice.
Yeah, we didn't get back the health. How did you keep track of which variables increased? Did you have a backup copy of the data just to figure out which ones to highlight in red?
Yeah, we basically had, just like we had, I mentioned there's several maps of the screen we had. Oh, the third map was the priority map, and that's actually really important. That's how Sierra did pseudo 3D. It was called 2.5D. Is we had 16 stripes, invisible stripes across the screen, but they're visible on the priority map. That is the depth level, and by default, as the farther you go up the screen, the farther you go back in the Z dimension.
Yeah.
But we could paint, the artist could paint a particular bush or something that would have normally been priority 4 and say, this is priority 1. And so then the character relatively low down the screen would still be behind the bush.
Yeah.
And that's really one of the coolest features of SCI is that we really made things look three-dimensional.
Marie says, have you thought about making an adventure based on Arana as the main character? Actually, no. I had not thought of her.
We've had fans propose it, or certainly an adventure in which Arana's maybe not the main character, but she's the one that you're getting her story and interacting with.
Yeah, so you could certainly do that, but we haven't thought about how to do the thing. Let's see.
And unfortunately, we should have by now made 50 or 100 games over the last 35 to 40 years. And instead, Sierra stopped having us make games for them, so we did not get to do every nuance of every variation on Quest for Glory that could ever be done.
Golden Drake found the highlight my message again. Wowee!
Yay, highlighted!
These are channel points. They sadly have no cash value. Yes.
Of course, there's nothing more valuable than having your own highlighted
message with a moving animated GIF to it.
Yeah, yes. So the Hercules graphics card was 720 by 348 pixels, which was amazingly small pixels at the time, but very, I think it was short and wide, very wide compared to the 320 by 200 screens. So the ratios changed, things could look stretched, squashed, etc.
Yeah.
It took work to get those to work and all these.
So Arlo says SCI was basically unplayable on the XT. So was AGI, but to a lesser extent. I was able to get SCI to play well enough on a Tandy 1000 with the Hercules graphics card.
Yeah, but it ran at about 4 frames per second. Hold on, I hadn't finished answering that.
Okay, fine, I know. I'm just.
Well, now I've lost what it was.
There, the Tandy.
No.
What?
No.
Which one?
Up. There we go, highlighted in red.
Oh.
Okay, so we effectively did have 2 copies of the variables of the character sheet, which was current, previous. I guess it's just current and previous. And so when we were displaying it, if current not equal to previous, if current greater than previous, you highlighted in green. If it was less than previous, you highlighted in red. Or
so
whatever color we used.
Yes, it was our thought to give you immediate reinforcement that you had stats that were going up, and you wouldn't necessarily notice them if when you came to the character sheet. And this just gave you another buzz of, yes, I see, I have done something.
And the nice thing for that is a tiny amount of memory. That's a really small check and a really small amount of memory. So things that give you enhancement that did not blow up the computer capabilities.
Because in some senses, we were treating this game like an operant conditioning exercise.
Yes.
That we wanted to reward.
I'm sorry. We're sorry.
We wanted to reward you and get you addicted to it because we were giving you positive feedback and positive reinforcement for the behaviors we wanted to reinforce.
So that you would have no choice but to come back and give Sierra more money every year or two for more of these games.
I like to think of him as a hero. Don't know why. Well, because it's easy, for one thing. And maybe his parents named him for that and hoped for the best. Exactly. I bestow upon thee plus 200 internet points.
Yay! We need those. Helmut Erlebnis sounds nice on German.
Yeah.
So I spent a year in high school in Germany and picked up just a smattering of German. And so we were able to put just a smattering of German in the game.
Yes. because at that point I didn't have my trusty English-German dictionary.
Spielboard means game, town, or play town.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, is similar to Steven Spielberg's name, although his is spelled with an E. Berg, B-E-R-G in German, would be a mountain. And so we have Zauberberg, which is Magic Mountain.
Yeah. My family Tandy 1000HX was good for about 3 years. Quest for Glory 2 was about the last SCI 0 game it could sort of play. There are a few areas where the computer's 8088 processor was too slow to complete. Interesting. I didn't realize it was that bad.
I think Thomas Mann wrote Magic Mountain, the book.
Okay.
But we also had Magic Mountain Amusement Park near us when I lived in L.A.
Yeah. Also, another question, another notion. Have you ever thought of making a spin-off based on the Fey realm of Quest for Glory? No, because
it's actually the other way around. We made the Fey realm of Quest for Glory based on the Fey realm in Laurie's tabletop role-playing game.
Well, that too. But honestly, it's better to have the game set into the mundane world and you get to discover the Fey world than the other way around. Because, for one thing, you need to have a frame of reference as a player. You don't just throw the player into the strange, weird world and then have to tell him, oh, your character would know that's your best friend, which so many of those other games did. You know, here you are supposed to be this character in this world, and you're trying to figure out how the hell I get from my living room to my kitchen, and what are these things in the kitchen that I don't recognize? Your character would know that. So we always tried to make it so that your character, you would have as much information as you could about this character that you were playing, and didn't have to have the game tell you, oh, you already know that, don't you? That's your best friend.
Whereas if you're in the fairy realm, you could have a talking hedge that turns out to be a rabbit. So,
Right.
The fantasy is maybe a little too far afield for the player to cope with it.
Yes. So it's better to have going into fairyland and going into Wonderland from the mundane world than the other way around. Because your player has to be able to think like the character. Yes. And Arlo says, on that note, I'd love to see games that tell the backstories of Arana and Aziza and Katrina. Yep.
The problem is that the last Quest for Glory we did in 1998, by the time it came out in 1998, cost about $4.5 million.
Yeah.
And today that would be a $20 million game. And that we really can't make all these spin-off games that are maybe small ones at $5 or $10 million. We just can't get the budget for it. We can't get anyone to support that. Yeah. And they would take too long.
Yeah.
By the time we wrote them all, we'd be 300 years old.
Yeah.
So the real answer is we should be writing stories and books, because those can be written more quickly and can tell those backstories without having to make an entire game around it.
The writing's tough. It's very tough.
The writing is hard, but
yes.
But it's faster.
Yeah, it is faster. What is your favorite hero? Fighter, magic user, thief, paladin, Italian sub?
We called those hoagies when I was growing up in Philadelphia.
It was subs for me. Let's see. I was a
hero is New
fighter
York.
Magic user. Yeah. Ask about the meaning of life. Oh yes, probably for the game. You invented Java. Nice shadows. I think Java tried the same approach with object-oriented programming, where everything included things like a simple integer would be a class. This game is no fun, I suppose. That was asked about fun. This game is no fun. Yes, let's see. I heard something about typing root beer in this version. Is this the root beer version, or is it blue frogs?
No, it's a root beer one.
Oh, okay, fine. The classic theme.
We don't have the context for that because we haven't met Erasmus yet.
Yes, the classic theme. Yes, as we walked out and we got to hear that music.
We have a dungeon master who always drives me crazy because he restarts his campaign every few years, and he assumes that your new player your new character has all the knowledge from the previous run through, and we don't want that to be the case. We want each character to be their own character.
Yeah, I guess that's basically the direction most programming languages have gone these days. Most languages have integers with properties such as dot format attached to them. They're technically objects.
What? No, I don't know anything about that.
Okay, now I'm thirsty. Get fun. Okay. You can't bravely run away, Mr. Ralph the Fighter. Yes, really. They still look very nice when you see the pixels, in my opinion, but not quite as nice as on a CRT. But still, they still look good. Yes.
Yeah,
And
the Apple II, Wozniak did all sorts of shortcuts to save money and number of components on the board, and that's why it's got the weird. Any vertical line is multicolor. It's like a combination of purple and green, whereas the horizontal lines can be a single color, and that's because of the compromises he made on how he displayed color on it.
Also, the old CRTs blurred the pixel slightly so that dithering makes more colors. It's interesting to lower the resolution on YouTube.
It's just like if you played a console game on a television set. TV sets kind of run all the colors together.
Yeah. Fond memories of my trip to Switzerland. This is the Alps. No apples, no fun, no gem. Is this Omar in a Halloween costume?
I don't think so, but it could be.
On the screen,
because Omar does have a lot of disguises.
All right, on the screen with the frost giant. Yes, those are all interesting. You can keep running, fall down to lose 1 hit point, and actually get down to 0 hit points and not die.
Oh, it sounds like leading into an exploit.
Yeah, dwarves are giants.
We didn't want to kill you, so what we did basically is we would, if you. So what are the terms? Stamina and
health points
or something. Anyway, so if you spend too much time running and doing active stuff like fighting, your stamina would go down, and eventually, if you got that down to 0, you would start losing health points. And I think if you get down to no health, you probably die usually, but maybe it caused your stamina to go down. We didn't really want. We wanted the player to feel like he could die at any moment, but not actually kill you off most of the time.
Yes, we wanted you to feel like you could die at any moment.
Laurie had the big debate with Ron Gilbert of Secret of Monkey Island, and Ron's point is that any time you see that restore, restart, quit interface, it takes you out of the imagination of the game. So that's why I
couldn't disagree with that.
Yep.
But it's that frisson or that idea that you could any time die,
or something terrible could happen,
that keeps you on your seat and keeps it from being an intellectual thing. It gets it visceral, so that's why we had that possibility in our games. And Aziza says, I love Beowulf from an English major. Yes Technically I was an English major rather than an education major, because you had to be an English major.
TV show Gallivant once had a fight between short giants and tall dwarves, all 5'10" inch men.
Okay, let's see. And David TKI, I wish I appreciated my British literature course more when I took it. Yeah, and I guess this game must have been my first encounter with the word mead, or the concept of drinking from a horn. Okay, cool.
See, I read all this stuff on my own. Yeah. It was just fun to read the story versions of the Norse sagas. I didn't read the anything in Old English.
This, right. I always
Canterbury
thought
Tales.
That he should beat you to death if you offer vegetables.
Oh, there we go.
Yes, Broggy has a great swing. Yes.
Well, my son asked me the other day, when did you start liking sweet things? And it's like, well, my entire life. All my treats were candy, and
Okay, barter with Blades Clash or barter with me. What? Yes. I need runs. Wait, I need apples. Crud. Yes, you got this. Yes, and Golden Drake says, I know you hear this all the time, but I absolutely love all of the game's writing and design so much. I'm so glad.
We got lucky.
Yeah.
What can I say? Yes. We had the right backgrounds. We wrote stuff that we thought would be fun, and kind of echoed off of storytelling and off of D&D games that we both ran and played in. And I did simulations to try to get the combat balanced using an article that was in White Dwarf magazine, like issue 1 and 2. And somehow it all came together.
Yeah, these games
it's
are
magic.
A synthesis of everything we did in life. Really.
And our team, of course.
Yes.
The fact that Ken Nishue was a fine artist who very readily adapted to working with very few colors and doing pixel dithering and so on. There was an artist at LucasArts that was known as the Dither King.
Yeah.
And some people, Mark Ferrari.
Yeah.
Mark Ferrari did that for Lucas. and made just incredibly looking scenes out of very few colors.
Brainiac says, I was so happy when Browgie had a cameo in Heroine's Quest. Didn't really want to fight him, though. He does.
Well, it's in his homeland, so it makes sense.
Yes, it reminds me of of Quest for Glory. I want to play Police Quest, but I have a Mac and GOG.com only has it for Windows. Anybody have suggestions? Yeah, I had a Scum... yes, well, let's see.
Well, the game's available on both GOG and Steam. And I actually own both versions. I decided to play it on GOG this time.
Now they're going to be talking about where the cameo was.
Oh, this is Police Quest, though.
Oh, Bill, back inside and warm now. Reorganizing my electronics toolbox while watching. Well, good for you. Let's see. I did a song from Quest for Glory 5 in the final project for that class. Cool.
There you go.
Yes, you just embarrassed yourself in front of Broggy. Minus 50 cool points.
I like to think of it as yet another valuable learning experience. Yes. And I've learned that I wasn't quite ready to face up against someone, almost twice my height, at least 50% bigger than me, with a giant axe.
Yes.
And that we have a little more learning to do. So actually now I want to not give him the apples and instead build up all my stats to 100.
You have to do that, Corey.
David TKI, have you ever tried building up your stats to 100 as a warrior and going in and fighting Broggy?
Yeah.
Maybe the game might allow it. We could have programmed that.
It was, barter with blade or barter with fruit. So find out.
So maybe if you had defeated him, he would have given you the gem without having to spend spend those 5 silvers on apples.
Okay, good. There's answers to that, how to play this stupid game on a Mac, yes. So let's see.
Using DOSBox?
Yeah, DOSBox and roll down. Okay.
And ScumVM and DOSBox are both great for being able to play old computer games. Used to play a ton of old Sierra games on my Mac. Yay.
Okay, good. I understand the VGA remake, but has this version been upscaled to where you could still type in the same style? Don't know.
No, VGA was point and click only, and that was the issue that I talked about, is the system not having enough memory to do VGA graphics and a parser.
Valiant Cheese, you fall in front of the rugged frost giant. Somehow you feel both colder and less cool.
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
That would have been a great line if only we had thought of it.
If we had cool points, because honestly we had...
And if I'd written more of it, because,
Zero cool,
Larry wouldn't have come up with that line.
Yeah. I believe a lot of games purchased from Steam or GOG have a wrapper like ScumVM or DOSBox, so it's possible to the original files and load them into something like that. Okay.
I think they actually have the original files as well as the wrapper, and so you
So Honey was finishing a Pirates of the Caribbean watch-a-thon. Yay! I'm going to bow out. We'll be tuning in later to watch your playthrough, if we ever actually get to the playthrough. Yeah, we will be doing this. So you can see how far we got. We will be doing this for the rest of
well, we can at least give some apples to Broggy, so we won't be able to face him later in the game and find out whether we can.
Well, we don't need to today. We will
sure, a fine thing to do.
Side note: you don't have any reason to do it.
I want to go out into the forest and fight monsters. Well, that is why I chose a warrior character.
Okay, fine. All right. Then you can skip through most of this. Let's see. Razzle Dazzle Root Beer. Oh, look, there we go. Tashtari tells you how to do the thing you were talking about.
Oh, well, we don't want to repeat that.
What? You don't want to do it?
All right. Oh, okay. Yeah, he said if I use the cheat code and then type Alt-P and Alt-C and Alt-V, we can see the different maps. So let's go do that.
And replay this so that we can actually show what we're talking about. Because,
Alt. Enter.
Okay, good. Escape.
Okay, so we're typing in the secret message that you're not going to look at.
Because nobody knows.
And that nobody has ever seen before except for Sierra developers. And I need to go over here to desktop. I couldn't, of course, have that desktop open while typing in the very, very secret thing.
Okay.
I don't know why I keep bringing that up. Okay, so we do Control V. That's volume. Control
Alt P, Alt C, Alt V.
Okay, Alt C should give me the control map.
There we go.
Here's the control map. Let's go back to Alt V. Here's the visual map, and you can see what appears to be, all these buildings and so on. But over in the control map, you can see that most of this screen is white. The hero can never walk in the white areas of the screen. There is a black area where the hero can walk, and then there's a light magenta and some dark cyan, and I think yellow is called yellow.
I thought that's blue, Corey, not dark cyan.
It's blue. All right.
Yeah.
Blue? Was it blue or blue and cyan separate?
Uh-huh. Yeah,
and then the third one, so control, visual, and priority. The priority map, the hero's color is automatically adjusted by where he is on the screen. The farther up you go, the colors will change to say that he is moving towards the background. But these objects, like the stall, is painted in light cyan, so that if you were able to go over there, which I don't think is allowed by the control map, you would actually be behind that. The centaur, that's interesting, part of it's gray.
Yeah.
The part of the centaur that animates is in green, so she is at the same depth as the dry goods store and so on.
Yep.
So back to the visual, and I come here and the door opens. Why did that door open? Let's go back out.
Did you drink the dragon's breath yet? Nope, we haven't even made it.
We haven't made it to the, it's a little hard to get out of this building. There we go. Okay, looking.
Oh no, too late to buy apples. Good thing we already bought them.
Oh yeah, it's getting towards nighttime. Control T. Sunset approaches. Alt C. Alt C. Control C. No. Maybe we're out of that mode now.
We're out of that.
Oh, because we changed rooms.
Yeah.
So I will once again type in that phrase that you're not watching me type.
Especially since you can't type it straight anyway.
Yeah, you're not watching how bad my typing in these days. Alt C gives the control map, and you'll see that little light magenta square. That is a control square, and so it knows that when I'm on that and I interact with the door, that the door will automatically open. It also means that when I'm on that square, that I can type look at door. Yep, that's the door, all right. And we can say enter shop. And it knows, I'm not sure what you're trying to do. It doesn't know. But it knows that that can activate the animation. So what it does is it takes your hands off, moves you up a little ways, the door animates opening, changes screens, walks you in a little ways, and then takes you out of hands off, so you now the sword cursor can interact.
Well, it's so you don't break the game.
Nope. Talk to man. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't notice you coming in. He was behind his book. My, you look like an adventurer. I carry a modest amount of adventurer's equipment. Let's try to get to not be directly in front of him. Ask about armor. You get really good protection from my chainmail armor. It's very heavy, though, and I would have to charge you 500 silvers for it.
Okay. Not sure you can
That'd
afford
be
that.
50 gold, I think.
Yep.
Or is it
I
5
think so.
gold?
I think it's 50 gold.
I think it was 10 to 1.
Yep.
All right. Ask about weapons. I only have standard weapons and equipment. I carry daggers and chain armor. Maybe someday I'll be able to carry magic ones, though. Also, can also sell you food or empty flasks for carrying liquids or powders. Ask about rations. Adventuring rations aren't the tastiest food in the world, but they'll keep you healthy. A pack of 5 rations will cost you just 5 silvers. That doesn't sound like a great deal.
No deal here.
You are. Thank you for your patronage and Control I. This whole inventory management thing. Now, all Sierra games had an inventory system, but they didn't have the concept of quantities. You could get the bridle, or you could get the apple, but you couldn't have 50 apples and have it differentiate. So that was a little innovation we brought in. It's just a few more numbers and variables. Right now, our weight is very close to our max weight. I better not buy a whole lot of stuff. We're currently using a broadsword and wearing leather armor, and we have a shield. So we're pretty well equipped.
But it's getting night, and now if you wanted to go out...
Well, this book is about an adventurer who's trying to become a hero. The title is Quest for Glory, A Hero's Death. I guess we had the name Quest for Glory back when
right
we wrote
there.
this?
Yes.
Before we made a Quest for Glory?
Uh-huh. What do you know?
Here. Okay, anyway, night's coming on. So if we get to the front of the town, sheriff's gone.
But the gate isn't closed.
Isn't it? Or... Oh, yeah, let us out.
Yeah, and then when you come back, you'll never get in.
No, we will, because it's not actually full night yet.
No, I mean, but if we leave to go out and do fighting, you'll never
Yeah,
get back in.
It'll be too late. And it's also the forest is much more dangerous at night.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a man here now. Move closer to the chair. There was, as I said, no real pathfinding.
Oh, it is indeed sad and dangerous times we live in when a man who struggles daily to keep from starving should be robbed of all his earthly possessions.
Oh, what's that got to do with me?
Well.
Oh, look. Here it comes. Shima. Shima, do you wish food or drink? Order food for man. Oh, and it just took that as order of food.
Yes, yeah. This is a 2-word parser, remember that.
Ask about possessions. That's a hard word to type. Oh,
go ahead.
No.
But you got to be melodrama. All that I once owned is gone, alas.
brigands?
Yeah, we did get that. 2 weeks ago, I was about to become wealthy on my dreams. I, Abdullah Du, would be the first merchant in the valley this year. But my life was shattered by those vile brigands.
Oh, very close story as to 2 game developers coming into a game company and about to become wealthy beyond our dreams,
yes.
And instead discovering that I had a 1/3 pay cut just to work for the company.
Yeah, yeah.
And that Lori got paid $1,500 a month, or was it $1,000 a month? I think it was $1,500 a month to design this game.
Yep.
His name is Abdullah Du, so I guess I don't ask his name.
The band of brigands ambushed us just as we were crossing the paths into the valley. They first used some magic which blinded us. Then they overwhelmed my 6 guards and my assistants.
Must have been a big band of brigands.
Uh-huh. All of my trade goods were taken from me right before my very eyes. Why the brigand leader spared my life, I do not know. I am now but a beggar living off the generosity of my friends.
Who can ill afford it?
I bring you that which you ordered. May it please and satisfy you.
Well, maybe you'd dance for me, and that would please and satisfy me.
Ha, wrong game.
You thank Shima and pay her. Oop. Drink. The food tastes surprisingly good. The beverage goes down, so they treat eat and drink as synonyms.
Yeah.
But that brings us to...
room. We need to get a room for the night.
Okay.
We should just stop.
Give money to man.
Your kindness overwhelms me. I can tell that you will someday be a great hero. Now you will have a secret. Among the items they stole from me was a magic rug. I alone know the words to command it.
Ah.
If you help recover my treasure, I will take you, Shamin and Shima, back to our lands by way of the flying carpet. Shapir needs powerful heroes too.
And that answers Aziza's question. Yes, we had that all planned out.
Yes, every bit of this game, every bit of all those games were all planned out in our heads. Well, something like that. I'm sorry, but I am much too broken to talk about such things right now. I have lost everything.
So I was trying to do Control I for inventory. There we go. Oh, look at that. All our money's gone.
Okay.
We had, didn't we have 5 gold coins
originally? 5 golds and it's yes, and we still need to have a place for them to stay the night.
Yep. May you dream of all the rewards you deserve. You thank Shima and pay him 5 silvers for the room. Shamin.
Yes, and then you get to walk all the way over.
Yeah, all this is all, pre-pathed.
Sleep at the Hero's Tail Inn. The sleep heals and refreshes you. And there we are. The next day. A good place to stop.
I think a good place to stop will be after breakfast, so I don't forget to order it.
Okay, fine. Well, you.
Because otherwise I'll use up my rations.
Okay. Yeah, but you're using up silver here.
Am I?
Yeah.
I have to pay for my food?
You have to pay for your
Oh, no wonder I'm broke.
Yes.
Okay, so we're paying 5 silvers per meal instead of 1 silver per meal here.
It's expensive.
But it's amazing.
Yeah.
Lovely Catapersian food.
Mm-hmm. All right. And there's the food. And now.
It's unusual, but smells delicious.
All right.
Eat.
All right. You have eaten. You have drunk.
Get up. And we will now save the game. Escape. Vial. No. Arrow. Save game. And this is
Day 2.
Day 2 morning at the end.
I don't think we need the at the end part, but that's fine. All right, save. And go back to talking to our people.
And we will quit this game because there's no more time to play.
Yeah.
How about that? We managed to make it through 1 day of the game.
How about
and
a
we bought
slice
some
of
apples
quiche?
we haven't
Give it
used
up
them.
How about a slice of quiche? That's a joke off of Real Men.
Real Men don't eat quiche.
Yes.
So we're quitting. Give me up, huh?
Yeah. Guess you quit. Yeah, we did have some obnoxious,
No.
All right, so let's see.
Close that window.
Okay, let's go back to
all right,
us.
back to our catching up to all the messages
yes,
that came in. And
go
we've got
to,
negative 1 minute to answer them all.
I know. Wait.
Did we drink the dragon's breath? No.
Okay, we haven't done anything yet.
There are many ways to die in this game. We don't need to do all the way.
Yes.
All the ways to die. You can
yes.
discover that for yourself.
Yes, if you, I believe the law with Amiga ROM is if you illegally download it, if you bought your Amiga and didn't sell it. I'm not sure if that's the case for abandonware, but the only purpose of paying money for it on GOG seems to be obtain a legal copy. Also, it may be also so it's legal to.
It's also buffs up Activision's sale numbers, so that with Microsoft now owning Activision, they can look at that and say, "Huh, this game Quest for Glory, that was our best seller. Why haven't we made a new one?"
Could the Quest for Glory universe be much bigger? Yeah,
when we first started working on Hero U, just after the Kickstarter, I went to the E3 conference in LA and talked with a representative of GOG, and he said that Quest for Glory was the biggest seller on GOG.
Let's see.
I don't know if that's still the case.
It would have been fun animating the centaur falling down. It would have killed the disk space and memory. Would have killed the centaur too. Yeah.
Well, only if he breaks a leg.
Yeah. Doesn't get Quest for Glory. Philistine, yes. How much today would an autographed copy cost? Depends.
Autographed.
What was that?
Autographed slice of pizza?
No. What was the autograph? The copy of?
Somebody had gone to a grading service and got their copy of I think it was Quest for Glory 5 graded, and it had an 85 grade, which is really good, almost pristine. And they were advertising for it for $8,000, I think, something like that. Obscene.
Obscene and stupid because he'll never get it. Rule was that
we just happen to have a copy of Quest for Glory Dragonfire that probably is at least an 85 there. So we could have enough to pay our rent for a month.
All right. Arlo says, rule that you didn't make a game right after. I'm pretty sure Scott and Murphy complained online about not being able to take any vacations during the development of Space Quest 1 and not even being able to take Christmas off, and Ken wanting him to go immediately to work on Space Quest 2, and what a terrible human being Ken Williams had become. Well, that's probably all true, too. What we were told was that they didn't want to make another game back-to-back. What they did in practice depended upon the whim of the day.
Yes, and it also had to do with they didn't want to commit to having us make a game when they didn't know how the first game was going to sell.
Whereas when Scott was doing that Space Quest, they didn't know what they were doing, and they needed games to roll out.
Now, the right answer, of course, would have been for us to make back-to-back Quest for Glory games, and take 2 years to make them instead of 1, and we would have had cleaner games.
And Valiant Cheese said goodbye. Sorry we couldn't say goodbye to you. Yes.
This is for Blender practice.
Yeah, they couldn't see the things. Let's see. Okay, guess we have to let them catch up so they can find out what they stopped staring at their screen. No one say anything. Yes.
Oh, I knew it.
They did it on purpose so we can't check out the underage centaur now that we're all 40 plus.
That's right. That would be completely inappropriate relationship.
Is that the third Cole? Lori, Corey, and the inventory? Yes, there we go. That's a joke we have.
I like it. That's a new one.
Yeah.
It's the Lori and Corey story and Lori and Corey's quest for glory. And
all right. Question I've wanted
we've
to
never
ask.
heard inventory.
What led to the usage of quarks, and was there ever a chosen conversion factor between them and real-world weight mass?
Yes, there was a conversion. I think it was 1,000 to 1 or something like that. And I don't know. It's just a silly word. So
well, quarks, because it's
it's
part of an atom.
It's got a Q and a U.
It was the right kind of sound word, and so yes. The penitentiary is leaking. Somebody put ragnets in the device. Yes.
No.
What is SCI?
Zero.
16
colors, one version.
What they used for there, we got an answer. Was introduced, and SCI 1 was introduced when they do point and click. So yes,
I see.
Can't have an adventure without the possibility of death. You can have an adventure without. I mean, Monkey Island did that, but you can't really have a good role-playing game without the possibility of death, because it's all about playing roles, and the game cannot say, don't do that, that's stupid. It has to show you, oh, that was stupid, I just died because I did something dumb.
Adventure must give you a challenge, doesn't necessarily need to kill you, because dying ends the challenge.
Pandora Cole was rating with a group of 8.
Oh, and we missed that.
We missed that, yes. Despite the disagreement, I actually like the Quest for Glory and Lucas games for deviating from 2 annoying aspects of most adventure games.
Yes.
LucasArts doesn't want to annoy you by killing you off in everything you do. Correct. And it's a great philosophy, and we really appreciate it. I remember in an interview, one of their developers gave an example of a game where you pick up a piece of glass and bleed to death.
Oh, that's an important cautionary tale to tell young children playing the game, do not pick up sharp pieces of glass.
Yes, it was like there's no way you could possibly not know to do that, yes. Quest for Glory follows suit in a way, trying not to kill you on. The puzzles are solvable, yes.
We tried to make them fair.
Thank you, Pandora Cole.
Thanks, Pandorkful. Sorry we didn't notice you coming in.
We were admiring
We're about to end.
Yeah. Sorry I missed that. It's a cameo special fight in Chapter 3 where you heads towards the Gastronir. Okay. Oh, that's the giant. Yes. Well, I'm just taking a break from my first playthrough of Hero U to cook dinner, and look who's streaming.
Hey!
Misheard that as ask about women's. Okay. Sounds like a skill issue, Abdullah. Yes. I'm so happy this is occurring.
Well, he may have hired the wrong bodyguards.
Clearly he had wrong bodyguards. She cannot fly when she's so far from
home. The bodyguard skill relative to the brigands was much like our hero's skill, Ralph's skill relative to Broggy's.
Yes, exactly. And because
they never had a chance.
And you didn't have Elsa didn't just have
Elsa. Who's that?
All right, the brigand leader.
The brigand leader
wasn't just a brigand leader for nothing. She made those guys work. That's why they made those guys work. Yes, it seems a bit forward of Abdullah to tell you he's taking you back to Shapir. He just met you and didn't even ask. Oh well. How does 5?
Well, to him, Shapir is heaven. It's everybody would want to go there, and certainly nobody wants to be in this freezing cold.
How does 5 silvers a night possibly pay for this place's expenses? Well, he clearly doesn't. You know, they're running out of money. When your money is actually made of precious metal and not fiat, it's worth a lot. 5 coins today made out of silver would probably pay for a hotel room for a night. Today.
Let's see, yeah, so I bought a bunch of silver coins when I was around 20, early 20s, and I paid $10.50, 10.5 times face value for them. So a quarter, or let's say a dime was worth about $1 some.
So.
And then we've had about 4 or 5 to 1 inflation since then. So it's $5. I wouldn't pay for it.
Wouldn't quite play
But-
for them.
But these days, so an ounce of silver, what's it? Yeah.
Yes.
Too complicated.
As he tries to complicate that thing. So Spielberg's economy, 5 coins is 50 apples. So yes, it's still the inflation
And you
rate.
can make a pretty good apple pie out of
Yes.
50 small apples.
Yeah. And yes, we will continue this next time. At the next stream, we will actually try to play a little bit more.
And in 2025, maybe we'll be have finished the game and be ready to start the next one or second playthrough.
Yeah. And apples are more exotic there than we think. No. Apples are good there. This is a place that can actually grow apples, so yes. Oh, good. Thank you. Got to see you. Thank you for showing up, people. We really appreciate it.
And we will stream again in 2 weeks at 2 p.m. PST
Yes.
on the 27th of January. Yeah. Should be able to do that. 27th of January.
Yep. Okay. Yes.
we got-
The 27th.
Yes.
Okay.
I've got things going on after that, but I think of the 27th we're good. Yeah, we will continue this game. We'll continue
Yes.
chatting. And
we'll
if you guys
actually-
type less, we'll play more.
Yeah, we'll try to get into a fight, actually. Glad it's 2
Wait,
weeks.
we got into a fight today.
No.
Sort of.
Yeah, well, next weekend, I'm at MagFest. Well, give us a full report on MagFest and how that is.
It sounds magical.
Yeah. Thanks for streaming. Bye, everybody. Bye, everybody.
All right, thank you
showing
for
up.
coming, and thanks,
See
Pat
you
North,
next
for your
time.
aid. Have a great day.
Great Dane, yes.
As I said,
Uh-huh.
let's get a
Bye-bye.
quick end stream.